Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're well on this Thursday. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything, but if you do, go back, get caught up at your leisure. We'll post the show. A lot of platforms there. You can find it on iTunes. All 3 hours will be there. Subscribe to the show on iTunes. Populates every day. You're good to go that way. We appreciate you when you do that. Certainly rate, review, share so others can find the show. It goes up on Spotify. It goes up on our website as well, ESPNTallahassee.com. You can always email us if you like, JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at J Cameron Show. And the WTSM app works for some, not all. It's a little shaky. These days, there's so many other ways to find it that I'm not really as worried about that app as I once was. They forced that app upon me and Tom. We didn't want it. We thought that app was shaky from the get-go. But you can only protest so much before you have to stand down. That wasn't worth arguing about at the end of the day compared to some of the other things that we fought hard for, Tom. That's the kind of struggle we go through on a daily basis.
Yes, on a quarterly basis, on an annual basis, on a budgetary review basis, you name it.
Yeah, it's fun.
We've done it.
All right, so let's get kind of caught up where we are. You know, yesterday on the show, Buster Olney joined us. It was great to talk to him. That conversation was recorded from the day before, so if it sounded a little dated, that's why. Because since the time we talked, they did end up getting in a room together, did Major League Baseball. Union head Tony Clark and obviously Rob Manfred getting together, and hopefully there is a positive result. There are fruits of their labor that appear to be headed in the right direction. If it's going to happen, if any season's going to happen, somewhere in the neighborhood of 70, 80 games, it looks like it will take place, or we'll get confirmation of it this weekend. So they're talking again today. And by this weekend, they hope to have something worked out. Baseball doing their best to save face. If we're just taking a cursory glance at the headlines for the day in general, I think you'd look at that first. You'd also note, obviously, several places around the country, you're seeing a spike in the number of cases now of COVID-19. That was to be expected in a lot of cases, but it is interesting and worth keeping a very close eye on. As we have more tests and as some of the tests that lagged in terms of the results come in, you are going to get some of this, but it is a bit disconcerting in a state like Florida or Alabama and others that we've seen a pretty significant rise lately in the number of cases. Again, I'm tending to look and focus on hospitalizations and deaths.
Ventilator usage, ICU,
those
check-ins.
kinds of things.
Yeah.
Stressors on the healthcare industry as a whole. Now, that sounds cold and calculated, but I'm being cold and calculated when I'm looking at numbers. That's all I'm saying. So, you know, I expected the spike. We all did, especially in states where their phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 is happening, where they're beginning to try to lead life in the way prior to COVID, right? As you begin to reintegrate folks in restaurants and schools and other places and beaches and hotels and everywhere else, you expect to see some of that happen. But I will say, it's always disconcerting when you read these kinds of headlines. There was one today, 13 University of Texas football players have tested positive for COVID-19. All 13 of the players are self-isolating, with 10 others in self-quarantine, the school said in a statement. UT's Executive Senior Associate Athletics Director for Sports and Medicine and Performance, that's a long title. Goodness gracious, that's a long title. All of that is under Alan Harden's name if you get an email from him. Additionally, 4 other football players tested positive for the COVID-19 antibody. And the quote reads as follows. All 13 are self-isolating through contact tracing. 10 more college football student athletes are in self-quarantine, all of whom are asymptomatic at this time. The report figure includes 13 players who tested positive tests, who had 2 positive tests, the university announced last week after 58 Texas football players returned to campus for workouts. So there we go.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is as the data rolls in for university students, I saw the Board of Trustees said okay to FSU's plan today, so it can now be passed up the ladder one more step. When you see university populations fill up and the enrollment is on campus, the numbers are going to pile up on you a little bit. But the severity of the cases, if it holds to what the trends say it's going to look like, you're not going to hear about many of those. You might hear about hundreds of positive cases on campus at a given time.
People isolated, they ended up self-quarantining or going to some place provided for them, and they come out the other side, right?
But you're going to hear a crap ton of asymptomatic cases are included within that total, and you're not going to hear a whole lot of stories about serious issues. You're going to hear anecdotal problems if the numbers hold to what we understand them to be right now. If they don't, then we're all in a world of hurt. College sports are done.
Well, for this year, yeah. Kansas State announced that 8 student athletes had tested positive. That was yesterday evening. They didn't specify which sport the athletes play, but did say it tested 130 athletes. You had 8 test positive there. KSU has not allowed any of its athletes to use team facilities without first testing negative for COVID-19. So you're looking at Big 12 schools now. Obviously, elsewhere within the Lone Star State itself, Houston shut down its workouts after 6 athletes tested positive. The school announced the suspension as coronavirus cases was spiking rapidly in the city of Houston as well. And Houston said the 6 players were symptomatic, and per the Houston Chronicle, the school initially was only testing athletes who were displaying symptoms when they arrived back on campus. So they kind of botched that early on there.
Yeah, you got to blanket test people. What are we doing here?
Agreed. You're going to have to blanket test people here. That seemed pretty silly on that note. So that's where we're at, and you'll read about that today, and that's enough to raise an eyebrow and keep a very close eye on. They will, obviously. Elsewhere, the news is that Ohio State and Alabama have agreed to a home-and-home series. That would be, just picturing a football series between 2 of the juggernauts in the game right now is kind of exciting. It gets you out of your headspace that we're in when we're thinking about the coronavirus. You're thinking about a time where we're back packing stadiums and watching marquee matchups and sort of the adrenaline that surrounds games like that and the enthusiasm that surrounds games like that. And that's really kind of along the lines. I know it's 2027, 2028, but that's really the thing more than the games themselves in some way. That I'll miss are the feelings to the buildup of the bigger games on your schedule across the sport. Because we've talked many times, Tom, it's at this point in our career or our lives, you're in your 30s, I'm in the last of my 40s. We've been to big games. We were both students. We went to national championships. We've seen them win a national championship. We saw that together. I've seen them win all 3. But those moments are awesome, and being there, it's incredible. But I don't specifically miss that element of the game of college football as we project out and see that we have some worry about whether or not we're going to be able to play. What I would miss is because I love the sport, I love the game of college football. What I would miss are those weeks that you and I do this show, and at about Tuesday evening, Wednesday afternoon, we look at that slate and we go, my God, we got 5 top 20 matchups this weekend. Can you believe it? I mean, here's one that's going to decide the West. Here's one that's probably going to have a big impact on the East of the SEC. Look at the Atlantic. We've got Clemson, Florida State, and then we've got, whatever it might be. You would go through, you identify all the Power 5, and then, obviously the non-Power 5 schools where you say, that's actually – a group of 5 team right there could make it. So that's kind of an interesting game right there between UCF or Houston or whomever, right? I love the build-up to those kinds of weekends. I love the big-picture stuff. And so that's really what I think about when I think about, gosh, are we in jeopardy? I'm not saying we are right now. But it's it's certainly it's not 100% that we're going to be seeing college football. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, for me, I'm like you. Of course, Florida State is the priority. It's been a tougher priority in the last few years, even as an alum. I think alum are saying the same thing. Like, it used to be effortless to speak into my voice remote or to type in the channel that I need to watch the game. Now it feels like I'm committing to something. Mm-hmm. Like now I know that there's sacrifice in this commitment. That there's this really good game over there, but I'm going to type in, if you're back home in Tampa, 27 for ESPN. You're like, okay, this is how much I love you, Knowles. I could be watching these other games. But I love looking at the schedule when the TV times come out, either the 2 weeks prior or the 6-day option.
You're talking about your setup.
And then you have the day staggered. Like, if it's staggered out that you got 2 good nooners, and then you got maybe a couple other candidates, and then you've got the 2 big 3:30s, and then a couple of good games in prime time. That's the best feeling in the world, because all day long there are games that you care deeply about. And then also, if you're a sporting guy or gal, then you got a couple other games that you would never put on television, but now it's on the iPad. Okay, it's on the iPad for a very specific reason. That is the best. And the day flies by.
And I am a sporting guy. So I might have 3 or 4 such games that might not be televised that I find to be of great interest. Riveted by the matchup between Navy and Hawaii this afternoon.
Well, I will tell you that even though they're a power team, and you mentioned them earlier, Ohio State at noon got my weeks off to great starts.
Oh, they
very
did.
often last year.
They were fond of absolutely destroying folks within 15, 20 minutes. That over and that spread felt awfully good to you at halftime, at least.
I remember jumping on LSU after the Texas game because I saw the way they finished. They weren't afraid to finish a game.
No.
And that's an important trait in a team. It's
Yes,
something
it
that
is.
we had in 2013.
Especially if you're a sporting guy or gal.
Exactly. And you are impervious to getting covered on in the last moments.
Backdoored, as
That's-
some people would say, Tom.
Some people would say.
Backdoored.
If you're interested in scoring, even when the game's out of reach, it's an important trait if you're looking for a favorite to bet on. When I saw that in LSU on the 3rd and whatever, that they're throwing the ball deep with the lead, they didn't care. They had no conscience. And then, that's middle-late September, the next 2 months, very potentially profitable.
Where there are live sports as we speak right now, well, that's the world of the PGA Tour, which came back last week. Was an awful lot of fun to watch, I thought. I won't dwell too long in that, but I should tell you that the RBC Heritage is being played right now there at Hilton Head, South Carolina. Interesting course. It's a kind of a tricky course in terms of, a lot of guys contend. CT Pan won the event last year, so it's kind of one of those courses and events that a lot of weird things happen.
Luke Donald has had a lot of success at that course.
Yeah.
It's a plotter's course. It's an A to B course.
That
it's
is
not
correct.
drive it around the corner, over the bend, and all that stuff.
One might call it the Luke Donald special. It's the kind of course where, certain guys who hit the ball like your mother have a chance to play and play at a high level. Ian Poulter.
My mom's got a hole-in-one, by the way, from 135.
With a driver.
5 wood.
I knew it was something like that. Ian Poulter leads the way at -7, shot a 64 this afternoon. Go get it, Ian Poulter. Victor Hovland, young superstar, at -6 on the afternoon. Some other guys of note would be the continued fine play of Jordan Spieth. Okay, Jordan. You have my attention. He shot a 66 today.
Jordan played the back 9 first, so holes 1 through 9, which were his second 9 of the day. He had 7 birdies and no bogeys, including holes 2 through 7, all birdies consecutively.
Tony Finau is tied with him, as is Webb Simpson, who is really tearing up the course right now. In fact, Webb Simpson just birdied number 10 and is at -6.
I hope they're playing together. Webb took a title away from Tony on the 72nd hole.
Yeah. I don't know if they are, but no, they're not playing together. They're not playing together. Webb's on the course, and those two guys are done.
Okay, gotcha.
So you have that, and then other names of note, Florida State's own Brooks Koepka and Daniel Berger, who, by the way, did play together, I believe, and both shot 4 under. So they're right there, along with Ricky Fowler.
So if you've got an early happy hour planned tomorrow, Brooks and Daniel will be going off, I assume, in the 2 or 3 o'clock hour. They'll be one of the late tee times. You'll be able to watch them play together. Same group, featured group, 2 Knowles.
Really cool. They know each other exceptionally well, obviously, as they were together here at Florida State. What a team. I mean, Berger played for a national championship, was right there.
They both wore sky blue today. So we'll keep an eye on that for tomorrow.
I'm telling you now, man, it's just going to be the end of my relationship with Brooks Koepka.
Are we going 0 for 8 for the weekend with these two?
Probably. Well,
not even a shade of red.
I mean, Daniel's got a better chance to don the Garnet than Brooks. I don't know what is going on with that, especially since I have a little access to the behind the scenes of Florida State golf, just a little bit. And it is my understanding, and I'll dispel it right now, there is no beef between Brooks Koepka and Florida State University, the staff, or anybody associated with Florida State golf. Not at all. And to my understanding, there's certainly not one with Daniel Berger either. So it's just not that hard, man. You tell Nike, throw in a Garnet shirt. One of the 4 days, a Garnet shirt.
Doesn't make it this Saturday. I know what you're doing. You want to stay away from the red shades for Tiger on Sunday because you don't want to look like a fanboy. That's fine.
Garnet is not red, Tom. We can wear Garnet.
But Tiger has worn the Stanford kind of crimson color, and he's worn the red.
All right, then wear
and
it Saturday then if you want it. Wear it whenever you want. You're Brooks freaking Koepka. You've been number 1 in the world. You've won 4 majors. Do whatever you want to do.
How about the mustard with the Garnet check on a Sunday?
Bam. Bam.
That's glorious.
How about a Garnet Nike hat with a gold swoosh? A little love? A little something to acknowledge your time here as an All-American at Florida State University?
I think if you told him that's what bros would do,
oh, yeah.
he'd do it.
You know, guys that lift a lot of weights love to wear Garnet, Brooks. Tight shirts, tight pants, they love wearing the Garnet and gold. I've noticed that. They hang out at the beach in their Garnet and gold garb, showing off their pecs. Brooks will be like, really? Bro.
Ready for business. There's never been anything quite like the all-new Jeep Gladiator, engineered from the ground up to be a true pickup truck, backed by legendary Jeep brand 4x4 capability. Now, drive forward with employee pricing on all new Jeep Gladiators. Save up to $6,309 off MSRP. We can't be stopped celebrating these deals. America's most loyal pickup owners, Ram. Outrageous discounts up to $11,000 off MSRP on some remaining 2019 Rams. Receive 0% for 72 months on almost 12 models and save thousands. These savings are shocking. Drive forward only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on the corner of Capitol Circle and West Tennessee. We're right on the corner and always right on the price. Must qualify through Chrysler Credit for special financing. All rebates and incentives apply, plus tax tag and dealer fee. Jeep pricing on all Gladiators excluding Rubicon and Overland.
On behalf of my good friends over at Bumpus Local 349, I wish to let you know, hey, the patio is open and the drinks, they're flowing. Yes, they're operating at 50%. They're practicing social distancing for your safety, of course. Bumpus Local 349 invites you to enjoy the Wingman Special. 25 wings plus 2 orders of fries and a bucket of ice-cold beers for $38.95. That's next to nothing. And by the way, if you're more comfortable, curbside pickup available all day, every day at Bumpus Local 349. They also sell your favorite alcoholic drinks to go as well. So that's an idea. Call 850-999-8562 to place your pickup order. Or for deliveries, you can contact Bite Squad. It's Bumpus Local 349. Remember, eat local, drink local, and be local.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
Planning on expanding or renovating your home or business? Did you know that these construction projects start with preliminary work such as professional sets of drawings and proper engineering? Before you apply for financing or sign a lease agreement, allow our team of contractors, architects, and engineers to assist you with planning and budgeting. Hello, I'm Travis, owner of T-Spark Enterprises, and I am here because we want your project to launch on the right foot. Call us today and we will take care of your construction needs. We aim to provide work that will exceed your expectations, guaranteeing picture-perfect results.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CGC 1525336. AAA Tree Experts in Landscaping remind you to prepare your property for hurricane season. If you have trees on your property, it is crucial to have them inspected before a major hurricane. Contact AAA Tree Experts in Landscaping today. 385-3319. That's 385-3319. Or online at AAATreeExperts.net. AAATreeExperts.net.
Sí, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Scientists have reported getting so high on the nitrous oxide emitted by penguin poop that it actually made them ill. The levels of nitrous oxide, more commonly known as laughing gas, given off by the colony's excrement, was about 100 times higher than in a fertilized field.
Excrement.
What did I say?
Excrement.
But I think that's how it's written.
Oh, for the love of God. Here we go again.
I mean, who do I find? What happens here? Roy?
No, you're fined. Spell it.
EXCRETMENT.
Roy, I think that one is on you.
I totally lied.
You fooled me. You are such a ninja liar that you fooled me.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hey guys, Jeff Cameron here. You'll be hearing more from me in the coming weeks as my journey back to Orange Theory Fitness, well, it's begun. I know that for all of us, as we slowly emerge from self-quarantine, got to feel safe. Feel safe in the places we choose to spend our time, right? And most importantly, we need to know that individuals and or companies have our health and best interest in mind, and I can tell you this is most certainly the case at Orange Theory Fitness. As a member, I like to take classes 4 days a week, bare minimum, and I ventured back over to do some training just as they open this week, and I can attest to the steps taken to ensure your safety. Well, they're extraordinary, frankly. I doubt you can find a hospital as clean as Orange Theory Fitness is currently and will remain dedicated to being. So if you're concerned, maybe a little unsure, well, that's okay. But just know Orange Theory Fitness is open once again and is 100% dedicated to ensuring you get back into shape safely in an environment you can trust. Give Orange Theory Fitness a try today or check them out at orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. Learn how living in the Orange Zone will lead you to a more healthy and vibrant life today. And head to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. Okay. Players making a counter proposal to the MLB proposal, which was 60 games plus an extended playoff. So it was going to be, instead of 10 teams, 16 teams. Major League Baseball's union has come back and said, okay, all right, hold on. We hear you. We're talking. This is progress. This is what you do. You have a conversation. You get grown-ups in a room with the goal, the stated goal, the agreed-upon goal of your efforts, which is to get back on the field somehow, some way, really soon for the 2020 season. And there's a give and take. That looks to be happening right now. They finalized a proposal for a 2020 season with 70 games that would begin July the 19th. Major League Baseball Players Association has finalized a proposal for MLB for a season in the neighborhood of 70 games. That would go from July 19th through September 30th. There'd be $50 million in playoff bonuses, 50-50 split of a new postseason TV revenue in 2021, forgiveness of salary advance for Tier 1 to 3 players, universal DH, mutual waiver of a grievance.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Yesterday,
for
that
the
offer
owners.
was 60 games by the owners, and the players are responding. Their retort is 70 games, but agreed upon expanded playoffs and no grievances and all that.
The grievance is a huge deal for MLB, and so if they were willing to come across the aisle, so to speak, as you said yesterday, and
Prorated
say,
salaries, we'll pay them.
listen, we'll get you prorated for more games, but you got to give us the grievance. That is the cue to the Players Association to say, all right, we can ask for a little bit more, and we'll give you what you want with no grievance. Big time stuff. You don't want to get tied up in red tape more than you have to, because they're going to have plenty of it by themselves with the CBA expiring at the end of next calendar year.
If it's 70 games, players would make 43%, of their 162 game salaries. Owners kept proposing additional pay cuts. Wednesday's offer from the owners was the first that actually included, as Tom just alluded to, prorated salaries being paid. Now they have to just agree upon the number of games. Here's where I'm absolutely in favor of more games, not less games. This sport specifically holds a mirror up to teams over the long haul. That's what it's about. If you bastardize that to a point where it's truncated and we're watching 40, 50 games, I'd almost say don't do it. Don't do it. Now, I know that'd be disastrous, but that's not the same as not playing because of greed. That's just, well, there's not enough time, and the coronavirus has put us in a bind to the point where we can't play a realistic season that makes any sense.
It's already going to be bastardized in such a way that it's not recognizable. If you've got universal DH and opening day is supposed to be essentially a month from now, that means that you can't check in to start spring training activities for another full week or two? I mean, so you're going to have expanded rotations. You're going to have lowered pitch counts by the best pitchers in the game. You're going to have expanded rosters that look like the September call-ups for the entirety of the year. There's a whole myriad of reasons, not to mention the playoffs that's going to expand. You could have a 500 team, right around 500, win the whole thing and win it very easily. In a way, like when the Cardinals won in 06, that
83 wins. Sorry, bitches.
Right. But we always point to that as an example of, well, geez.
Well,
but
baseball getting to the postseason is the whole,
But it could much more easily happen this year and next if they're
like,
talking about expanded postseason for the next 2 seasons.
It's like when the NHL allows everybody and their brother into the postseason. I'm like, okay, well, an 18's going to beat a 1. It's going to happen. It pisses me off. It's almost like you don't deserve to be here, but you can win it. Get hot. Goalie stands on his head for a series. Peace out to that team who busted their ass and actually did something during the course of a very long season.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that's now going to be the norm because this is opening the door for fundamental changes to the game that aren't going to be put back into the box.
Well, it's not ideal, but I understand you're in a non-ideal situation. So you are. This is an extraordinary measure they're having to take, and I can live with it given that we're in extraordinary times. I hope much of this obviously does return to form in 2022. I understand what you're doing right now, but, John Heyman reported on the heels of this that the owners did not respond real well to the players' counter-proposal. And I'm surprised by that. The owners are saying they believe they had a meeting of the minds last night, and the number was 60 games, and it was understood. Players are like, no, we took a step in the right direction, but we would like more games because we want a larger percentage of our money, obviously. I mean, that's what they want. In addition to money, the final agreement to restart baseball could include a few of the other changes. The latest proposal from the owners included expanded playoffs, as we talked about, also the universal DH for 2020 and 2021, and corporate advertisements on uniforms. Ooh.
Listen, that would be something I'd look to roll back if I could. You'll never do it, though. It's the toll booths.
It's the toll booth. They never go away.
But I mean, when you're losing that much revenue, let's just say that the owners are cooking the books and it's 25 to 30% of the revenue. That's still a huge chunk from what you get from the gate.
I get it. You could make exceptions to it for 2020 and 2021. You could have the stupid-ass McDonald's arch on your shoulder or something if you needed to.
You know what I'd do, honestly? All the teams have done it the last 5 years is they draw their logo in the dirt behind, behind the pitcher. Why don't you put a big corporate banner right there? Who cares?
Yeah.
If there's a banner on the mound.
Well, listen, you go back to watching, old footage from the 30s and 40s of baseball, and you see the signage out there. I mean, everything is a Lucky Strike ad, but there's, nothing but ads out there, and that's actually kind of homey, and it reminds me of sort of like, oh, the good old days. Look at that. We're at Durham Park, or what. That's fine if you want to do that, but they already do. But I'm saying you can make it ridiculous. You can have it all over the wall, instead of just.
I just have a hard time believing that baseball is going to be ready to go by the timeline they suggest, July 19th, because you've got to go through all the health protocol discussion. You got to go through the bubble versus no bubble discussion. And if they can't agree on things in a timely fashion for the big and the easy stuff, how the hell are they going to get together on the health protocols? I still feel like it's questionable at best that the season starts, even if they come to terms on how many games they want to play.
Well, first they have to come to terms. So let's get that out of the way and then worry about all this other stuff later on. HBO announcing that Hard Knocks is scheduled to go off without a hitch, and they're going to do it in Los Angeles this fall, and it's going to feature both the Rams and the Chargers. That was announced today. First episode is slated to start on August the 11th. You buying that?
That just seems like a whole lot of unnecessary personnel in each team training facility when the NFL has restrictions that say that more than 20 people cannot gather together right now, that all of those meetings have to be virtual. How the hell are you going to inject an HBO film crew in there and ask people to wear mics and have a guy holding a boom mic over a huddle? Like, that just doesn't seem feasible and or responsible.
I also don't think it's going to happen. So we'll see. But that was their announcement today. They're going forward with it as planned. All I know is we can get Sassy back on camera. Good old Sassy.
He wouldn't turn down that opportunity, would he?
No, he would not. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I'm making everyday Earth Day by incorporating small actions that can create big results.
Like what?
Well, I'm starting with daily habits, turning off the lights every time I leave a room, shutting off the tap when I brush my teeth, and unplugging electronics when I'm not using them.
Those are great ideas our whole family can do.
And since we're home more, I could also use your help with a few one-time projects that could benefit us long-term, like fixing water leaks and installing our rain barrel.
I'd love to help. Right after I call the City of Tallahassee Utilities at 891-4968 to sign up for paperless billing.
Excellent! Tonight, let's ask the kids if they have any ideas about what we can do to save energy, water, and money as we celebrate Earth Day at home.
2020 marks the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and there are many things TLH can do to celebrate at home. Get inspiration at tlhcando.com. Small actions create big results. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities.
It's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shop's Father's Day sale. For a limited time only, trade in your old clubs and receive a 50% bonus towards inline Callaway or Odyssey Stroke Lab products. All Nike, Adidas, Puma, and Under Armour apparel is now 25% off. Check out the Bushnell Tour V5 rangefinder, which measures up to 400 yards to the flag. And introducing Bushnell's Wingman, the world's first Bluetooth speaker with audible GPS distances. Edwin Watts Golf Shop's Father's Day sale going on now. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Oh, God, look at that. Is that guy?
He's dead. That dude's dead.
Man, that's crazy,
That's why you don't do that. I don't know about you. I'm not on a motorcycle. That's not my thing. That or I've seen these jet ski guys do flips over each other. This extreme sports stuff is brutal.
Dude, you know, I was in a motorcycle accident when I was 16, man. I cut my foot off.
Whoa. You cut your foot off? You got a club foot? Is that a wooden foot?
No,
Did you kick a 63-yard field goal?
I can still dance. The doctors put it back on, man. It was pretty quick, but I hit a mailbox.
You're not kidding.
No,
You cut your foot off
yeah.
on a mailbox.
On a mailbox.
Did you feel it?
No.
I knew it. I told everybody with severe injuries, you don't ever feel it. Like a shark bites a guy's leg off, he never feels it.
Didn't feel it at all.
Seriously, you cut your foot off?
Yeah, I seriously cut my foot off.
Which foot?
My right foot.
Like halfway down? All the way
halfway.
Up, at the ankle?
At halfway. Look.
Holy. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Phase 2 at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is in full swing, where you can enjoy Tallahassee's best jumbo wings and the coldest beers in town. Check out the latest Corner Pocket Bar and Grill wing special, an unbeatable value for the best wings in town. 50 delicious jumbo wings, 2 baskets of fries, and a gallon of tea or soda for only $45. That's right, 50 of Tallahassee's best wings, a couple of baskets of fries, and a gallon of tea or soda for only $45. Head to cptallybar.com today to put in your online order for takeout or delivery, or just head by 2475 Appalachie Parkway and see why Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is now open late nights.
Business owners and CEOs apply now for the Tallahassee Small Business Executive Program, designed to help business owners and CEOs think differently and become more efficient in running their businesses. This program is presented by the Jim Moran Institute in Florida State University's College of Business, offered at no cost to the participant. The program meets once a month beginning in August. More information is available at jimmoraninstitute.fsu.edu. That's Jim Moran Institute.fsu.edu.
Sellers Tile does it better for business owners, contractors, designers, and homeowners. Better design ideas, better quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring, better mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions. And Sellers makes it easier with their amazing showroom and first-class professionals. Maybe it's time to get Sellers working for you on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com. For better style, quality, and design, go with Sellers in Tallahassee. Call 656-8450.
They say you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so here at Charmin, we decided to sing about it.
Super mega rolls, 6 rolls in 1. Got rolls on rolls on rolls. TP for everyone. Charmin rolls got rolls, super mega rolls. Super mega lasts forever. Charmin rolls got rolls.
Charmin Super Mega Roll is 6 regular rolls in 1. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
6 rolls in 1.
Golick and Wingo.
I don't envision a NFL statement back to the president, quite honestly, like we saw with Drew Brees. But you just wonder if the NFL and if players, white players, are basically saying, sorry, Mr. President, we don't care what you think right now.
Yeah.
You know, this has now become too big that we're not going to be influenced by you saying don't kneel and disrespect the flag because we have listened more and we think different.
This might be a situation where they learned, all right, that's not something that's actually affecting our bottom line or the way that we're talked about in ways that might have been previously felt in all this. What will affect our ability to go forward is if the large portion of the people that make up our league, the large portion of the black men that are playing our game, are looking up at us and are saying, you're not listening to what we've been trying to tell you. Now the whole country has been forced to listen. Why aren't you?
Golick and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Redemption Thursday, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Got a do-it-yourself project that needs to be finished? Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Avenue in Tallahassee and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Online at ctf.nu.
As the NBA heads to Disney World in Orlando, Florida, the league is making available a host of technological bells and whistles to both players and staff. According to the NBA's health and safety memo for the restart of the season, which was obtained by the group at CNBC, residents will receive a, quote, smart ring. First I've heard of this here smart ring. A Disney Magic Band, that we've all worn, individual pulse oximeter, and a smart thermometer to help monitor and reduce the spread of the coronavirus. The league is also investigating the implementation of a wearable alarm to help players and staff adhere to social distancing. A breakdown of the key health and safety protocols the NBA plans to adopt when players head to Orlando later this month in preparation for the restart of the season. The plan includes 22 teams traveling to Orlando to play games in what is being described as, quote, a bubble at Disney's Wide World of Sports complex. Players that decide to participate will be subject to extensive testing, quarantines from their families, and strict rules pertaining to social behavior. The league memo, which is more than 100 pages long, outlines its plan to keep players safe and the tools it will be utilizing in order to do so. I think we're going to be able to pull this off, says Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. We are doing everything possible to keep people safe, and I think it's going to work. One of the tools they're using here is known as the Aura Smart Ring. It's capable of predicting COVID-19 symptoms up to 3 days in advance with 90% accuracy, according to the company that produces the ring.
According to themselves, yes.
One of the tools the NBA, again, will be using is that smart ring, and all players and essential staff members will be given the option to participate in health monitoring using the ring. I don't know why you wouldn't. The titanium rings reportedly made by Aura are capable, as I just noted, of predicting that within 90% accuracy, with a 90% accuracy rate. That's we should all have one of these rings.
If it gives you 3 days warning, sure.
Are they a sponsor on the show? The data will be studied and assessed by the University of Michigan to help generate an overall wellness assessment for each person. The memo said that players will have full access to all data collected on them, but team staff will only have access in circumstances where the player's illness probability score indicates that they're at higher risk. Players will also be given access to that magic band I referenced. It's not really magic. And they're required to wear it at all times.
It's tied to mommy and daddy's credit card. That's the magic of it.
The Disney Magic Band acts as a hotel room key, yes. And you just go boop, boop, boop over and over again while they laugh in a control room somewhere far, far away.
$17 popcorn. Doot, doot, doot.
Doot, doot, doot. The Magic Bands can also help the league with contact tracing. The league is investigating a way to use the bands to know if a player is diagnosed with COVID-19 and he's come in contact with other players. Disney will be prohibited from accessing health information of all of its players. Disney will be alerted to a player's health status for the purposes of getting them the hell up out of there. I added that part. For further safety assurance, wouldn't it be great if the writer had written exactly those words, though?
That'd be a really good Wire Report writer. You'd be the rogue Wire Report guy.
People would be like, I love this guy. That's exactly what that's for. For further safety assurance, the league said it's investigating the use of an access control software that utilizes the Magic Band to provide them access and entry into campus facilities. For example, when a player arrives at a security checkpoint, their Magic Band would display green or red depending on their health status to allow or deny them entry. This is Orwellian. This starts to feel like things that will never go away, right? Also like tolls. Soon we're all wearing Magic Bands. And we've got the little thing that allows you to know the code to charge you right on our foreheads. All residents will also be given an individual pulse oximeter to take blood oxygen saturation levels daily and a smart thermometer that can take and record the individual's temperature. Players will be given detailed information on how to utilize and analyze those results. There's a social distancing alarm that will take place. I imagine the Magic Band will also incorporate some of that technology. Beep, 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 beep. Some of the players have gone, we're not going to do that. We're really concerned about the data collecting you're talking about here. I kind of understand that.
Considering anything and everything that has collected data, say, from a Target credit card to, I don't know, website tracking when you're supposed to be incognito, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see why they would be concerned.
Yeah, it's never that you're actually not being followed at all times at every site that you look at. The league said that information collected will be deleted within 4 weeks. Opting out isn't an option, with the memo saying that any player of staffer or staffer who refuses to undergo the daily health monitorization, well, they'll be prohibited from engaging in group activities until the monitoring is accomplished. Get back in there, Roger.
The one thing is you can say no on the way in and you won't be penalized as an NBA player.
Right. You can choose not to do this and then you don't get to play and you're not penalized. You can come back next year when things return to norm.
Or the year after.
Or whenever. Well, you certainly have to give people options. Now, let me ask you this. If you choose not to, do you get paid? I wouldn't think so.
I don't think so, no.
So you are punished.
But you wouldn't be paid anyway.
No, I know.
If the games didn't exist in the bubble.
Yeah, it's a hell of an incentive to say yes. It will entail enormous sacrifice for everybody involved, that, according to Adam Silver. It's not an ideal situation, he noted, trying to find our new normal in the middle of a pandemic. I can understand how some players feel that it's just not for them. And, Adam Silver does a very good job anytime there's an announcement involving the NBA and its players. He just does a good job of at least acknowledging the other side or the issues at hand and how it affects either the owners, the players, the coaches, really anybody in the front office of the NBA. It can affect them differently, and he's aware of that, and he acknowledges. I mean, when you're asking players to do this in order to have a season, you got to acknowledge that it's intrusive, very, very intrusive, and I understand your concerns. We're collecting a hell of a lot of data about every aspect of who you are. And if you don't trust that in 4 weeks we're going to get rid of it as we say we are, that could be disconcerting. I think this is where, obviously, having that close-knit bond with his players, and the commissioner of the NBA certainly has shown that he does, is going to help. I think these players, the vast majority of the players, now let's not get it twisted, they're doing it for money. Nothing wrong with that. They're paid handsomely to play a game, and they want to get back out there and play said game and earn that money. But a lot of these players, I think, will look at that, they'll weigh it on the scale there, and they'll say, you know what, the league's been good to me. They've listened to us. We've had a voice. They've negotiated in good faith around every turn. They say they're going to get rid of it in 4 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting here. It's not quite the same as MLB in that you've made most of your money for the season. If you're a player on, say, the 7th seed in the West that has no chance to win the NBA title.
Right.
Like, you've made your money. You've played 60-some-odd games.
Something games,
right?
yeah.
So, okay. Do you really need that extra money? And if you don't, what do you say? But where it gets Orwellian to me and theoretically funny is get to the Western Conference Finals and maybe Kawhi Leonard hires a hacker. Looks like Boris from GoldenEye. And he taps into LeBron's health data.
Yeah. Oops.
Look at that. The alarms are going off.
What a shame.
Oh, this is terrible.
Things could have been so different if you had had the opportunity to play LeBron, but sadly, we'll never know. Best of luck to you. I'll see you next year. Yeah, but I feel fine. I'm good. I haven't gone anywhere.
Must be asymptomatic,
that's
LeBron.
Terrible.
That's just unfortunate.
Terrible to hear that.
What did the ring say?
I don't know what to tell you.
What did the titanium ring say?
Do you hear the alarm? Have you ever known an alarm to be good? We're in trouble here.
I mean, Anthony Davis is a really good player. He might be enough. He might be.
For your sake, I hope so. We'll have to wait and see.
What floor are you on again? What's the isolation floor?
Brutal. Just brutal. Did you see where yesterday I segue from the league there, and that is kind of freaky, that ring, by the way. It's also a really good-looking ring. I'm looking at it here. It's a good-looking ring. It's a ring I'd wear. It's very understated, simple, good-looking ring.
That's kind of the look I wanted on my the wedding band.
Titanium.
Is a little dark titanium with a little bit of the green underneath. And nobody would see. I'd know it's there.
You would know it's there? Yeah. My wedding ring has an inscription that my wife wrote, and I can't see it.
Is it radio appropriate?
It's just right there on the bottom part. It says, "Let's bang." No, it's no, it's very appropriate for radio.
It's okay now.
No, I actually smile thinking about it, knowing that it's there, but I can't get this. It's very hard for me to get this ring off. I've been married for nearly 15 years. And I don't think I've taken it off but a couple of times. And one of those times, they made me take it off. Where the hell was I that we had to take? Oh, we were petting the Dolphins at some.
Oh.
Yeah, they make you take it off.
How was that?
It was awesome.
How does a dolphin feel?
Rubbery.
Rubbery? It's not slimy or anything?
No, not slimy at all. Rubbery.
Oh, that's cool.
They feel fantastic. They're awesome. I love them. It's over there by St. Augustine. It's like the oldest freaking aquarium in the country. It's ancient. It's old as hell. I mean, it barely looks. It's a dilapidated place. Now, listen. I frankly, there shouldn't be zoos, and there ought not be SeaWorld and all that. Ideally, these animals are out free in the ocean where they live. This place does a pretty good job. Flipper was filmed there. A lot of Flipper.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They do a pretty good job with the dolphins that are there. It's a pretty massive enclosure, but it's a pretty massive one. Anyhow, you get in a line there. I wanted to see old Florida. It's like old Florida, right? And so we went in there, and I love all things kind of old Florida touristy, like the ridiculous wiki-watchy stuff and all that. Just the signs alone with the mermaids and all the dumbassery. It's hilarious. But we went in there and the kids wanted to be able to touch the dolphin. They do once an hour. You get in the line there. You do your thing. It's hot as Hades when we were there. I was a little.
So the dolphin comes. You're not swimming with them.
They're not swimming with them.
Oh,
no, you're not
okay.
swimming with them. And I've read where that's not a good thing. But anyhow, that's each to his own. But I went and stood in the line there. The dolphin comes up and they sit up. They're strong as hell. They sit up there on their tail and they're smiling away. They're like squeaking at you and everything else. And then they tell you the trainer's there and like, okay, you can pet him. And we did, but they made me take the wedding ring. You can't have any kind of rings on or any kind of bands or anything. And we did it, and they feel awesome. They're kind of like, they look rubbery when you look at them. Like a hard.
Right, I thought they might be slimy.
No, they're not slimy. They're not slimy at all.
Okay, that's on my list once we get back. I've always wanted to swim with the manatee. You could stop just on the way home down to Pinellas County. You can stop at any one of those places and swim with the manatee. And then also the Clearwater Aquarium, I don't know if they'll let you touch winter. I don't even know if this thing is still alive. But it's like the dolphin that's like, it's lost all of its tail, but it survived.
Yeah, they made the movie.
There's a movie about it?
Yeah. I think Morgan Freeman's in it, yes. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, we went to see the damn dolphin. We went. I did. I took the kids there. We went there.
How cool was that?
It's okay.
Screw you, man.
No,
Santa Claus does exist.
It's okay. It's all right. The kids loved it. They were little. They thought it was cool. We went down
Jimbo
there.
Fisher was always a nice guy. I don't care what you say.
We had fun with it. We did. But yeah, it's all right. I don't know if that. I think he is still alive.
Can you pet Winter the Dolphin, or is it
We didn't
stay away from
I don't
him?
think
He's
can
injured.
No, I don't think you can pet him.
Okay.
I don't think you can pet him. No. We also saw. Oh, sadly, the oldest damn. It was like the oldest manatee that they had in captivity. It was an ancient ass manatee. Like I'm probably getting this all wrong, but I think it was like 60-something years old. And then
I think they might be able to live that long.
Yeah,
I'll
well,
ask
they
Siri
don't
off
move.
the
They
air.
don't move. But no, we did. We went to that, and unfortunately, that thing died not long after.
Yeah, spot on. The average lifespan for a manatee, 50 years.
Yeah.
So
this
60, they could
manatee
do
was
it.
like 60 or 66 years old, and the poor thing died a grisly death.
What?
Yeah, somebody screwed up and trapped it somehow, like by accident, and it suffocated.
What the hell?
It's awful. I read that later on. I was so mad. I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
I never knew this thing existed 60-some-odd
And
years
now you're
old.
hurt that
now
it
I'm going
did.
to pour one out
Yeah.
in the break.
No, it's awful. Like they had done a good job of taking care of this thing all its life, and then some dumbass didn't operate the equipment properly when they were shutting things down and killed it.
I see a goofy 19-year-old kid
Yep.
on college vacation, and he's working at the manatee help place, and he just left the net in the wrong spot.
Yeah, he did
that
something
he was told not
to
to
do 100
repeatedly,
times. Yeah,
but he's coming off a bender, and you just hear it.
I think you're right. I just remember reading that story and thinking, oh, come on, man. That can't happen.
You killed old Marky the manatee.
You can't. Well, there's a lot of people listening right now. They're like, okay, Jeff, you kind of got that right. This is where he is. This is his name, and this is what happened. But I mean, I'm pretty sure that's kind of what happened. The oldest manatee in captivity was killed by accident. I'm pretty sure it's suffocated.
If it's like you and NFL players being charged or not charged or convicted, then you've got this thing dead on.
Or serial killers or anything to do with weird archaeology.
Like Jimbo and Tony Dorsett's career.
Folks at Triple A Tree Experts in Landscaping say it's time to prepare your property for hurricane season. It's crucial to have trees inspected before a hurricane. Removing dead or hazardous trees and limbs is your best protection against property damage. Don't be reactive to the weather, be proactive. Have your trees professionally trimmed or removed before it's too late. Triple A Tree Experts in Landscaping has been providing tree inspection, trimming, and removal in our community for over 30 years. Call Triple A Tree Experts in Landscaping at 385-3319.
Load up on savings at AgPro with John Deere lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers starting at $55 a month. Visit one of their 11 Northern Florida or 8 Southern Georgia locations or agproco.com/load up. Offer ends 6/30/2020, subject to approved credit. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
The Florida Lottery has awarded nearly 900,000 Bright Future scholarships and counting. That means Bright Future scholars are everywhere.
They are doctors,
teachers,
scientists,
even artists.
They are shining in every field imaginable. And every day, more students are preparing for their moment in the spotlight. With Bright Futures and the Florida Lottery.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all-day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
With a Bojangles 3-piece Chicken Supreme snack, you get a plate of bold, boneless chicken and a hot, fluffy, made-from-scratch biscuit for just $3.99. Or, if you'd rather 2 pieces of bone-in fried chicken with a biscuit and a fixin', don't you worry, because that's $3.99 too. It's such a good deal, you can knock out dinner and balance your budget in one fell swoop. Because if you're going to take out 2 birds with 1 stone, they ought to be delicious. Bojangles. It's bow time.
It's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shop's Father's Day sale. For a limited time only, trade in your old clubs and receive a 50% bonus traded towards any tailor-made inline golf clubs. All Nike, Adidas, Puma, and Under Armour apparel is now 25% off. Check out the Bushnell Tour V5 rangefinder, which measures up to 400 yards to the flag. And introducing Bushnell's Wingman, the world's first Bluetooth speaker with audible GPS distances. Edwin Watts Golf Shop's Father's Day sale going on now. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Not all law firms are equal, so here's why Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey was recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm. First, we only take real cases. If your car was barely bumped and you think you're going to get rich, we're not the firm for you. We limit our practice to serious cases with legitimate claims. Second, we only take cases involving real injuries. If you know you aren't hurt but think you can fool your way into a quick settlement, we're not the firm for you. We encourage our clients to heal up and get better, not sit on the couch and expect a windfall. Third, we don't want clients who are just in it for the money. If the very first thing you think of after getting hurt is calling pound something or other on your cell phone instead of calling 911, we're not the firm for you. Your health should always come first. And finally, we won't blow smoke about a big money outcome just to get your case. Other firms overpromise and underdeliver. Our only promise is that we'll work harder than anyone to get you the best result. Remember, the law firm you have representing you makes all the difference, so don't settle for less. Call Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey and let us put our reputation to work for you.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents and Doug.
Limu, there's a woman threatening to sign up for generic car insurance. Grab your birdseed and let's go.
I'm gonna sign these papers right here, right now.
Ma'am, drop the pen. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Thanks, Limu, Emu, and Doug.
Don't thank us, thank Liberty Mutual. But also thank us.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer. State laws apply.
From faulty breakers to broken windows to leaky pipes, roofs, and water heaters, homes and businesses around the country can't work until the pros do. That's why Lowe's created credit programs that work for pros. With everyday 5% savings on eligible purchases, plus through October 31st, 60 days promotional financing on your Lowe's business account or extended terms on eligible account receivables. Learn more in-store or online at lowesforpros.com. Putting money back in your pocket. Just one more reason Lowe's is the new home for pros. Subject to credit approval, U.S. only.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
Phase 2 at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is in full swing, where you can enjoy Tallahassee's best jumbo wings and the coldest beers in town. Check out the latest Corner Pocket Bar and Grill wing special, an unbeatable value for the best wings in town. 50 delicious jumbo wings, 2 baskets of fries, and a gallon of tea or soda for only $45. That's right, 50 of Tallahassee's best wings, a couple of baskets of fries, and a gallon of tea or soda for only $45. Head to cptallybar.com today to put in your online order for takeout or delivery, or just head by 2475 Appalachia Parkway and see why Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is now open late nights.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Redemption Thursday, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Got a do-it-yourself project that needs to be finished? Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Avenue in Tallahassee and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Online at ctf.nu.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. We're going to need the redemption aspect of Redemption Thursday here, Tom. The story is even sadder than I realized. But I wasn't wrong. I had this right. My memory did not escape me, but it's not good. So, if you missed the end of the last hour, I was talking about some old items, old Florida, and I was talking about what turns out to be, thanks to David for jumping on and letting me know via the Twitter there that I was describing Marine Land. That's where I petted the dolphin, and you were wondering about that. And it was Marine Land.
So that's the place you described as dilapidated, is that right?
Yeah.
Marine Land.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, there's no getting around it. They would admit it. It's a relic. I mean, it's very, very. I think it was the country's first aquarium. I really believe that, or something close to maybe the States. But it's old as hell, and it looks old as hell. But you go in there, and I enjoyed it. It was fine, other than it was 115 degrees when I was there.
Babe Ruth stopped by after spring training years ago.
Probably many times. But anyhow, it's it's fine. It is what it is. It probably, frankly, should be shut down. I'm just not going to lie to you. I mean, it should be shut down. But that said, we petted the Dolphins. The kids enjoyed it. I bought a book from there. I was trying to help the cause, and then I was conflicted by that because I'm giving money, and I really don't think it should be open. But anyhow,
maybe I can help replace one of these 2x4s.
It's just this place is shaky, man.
Get a book.
It's just shaky. But I couldn't remember the name, and David was kind enough to join us or tweet at me that it's called Marineland. But then it was bothering me that I couldn't remember the name of the manatee, and I couldn't remember the age of the manatee.
Damn it, what happened?
All right. So I knew that we went down to see this manatee, and we did. It was right. It was in Bradenton, Florida. And he resided in the South Florida Museum's Parker Manatee Aquarium there in Bradenton. He was one of the first recorded captive manatee births in the history of the state, okay, and maybe the country. Anyhow, that dude lived to be 69 years old.
Nice.
69 years old. Now, here's the problem. He died on July the 23rd, 2017. And I also remember that it was hotter than Hades when we were down there visiting this manatee. That would make sense. It was July. We saw this. And I knew that my wife got very upset not long after we left there. Probably a week, maybe somewhere along that timeline. She came home one day and she was like, "You remember the manatee that we went and saw with the kids?" And I was like, yeah. Well, his name was Snooty. Snooty the manatee. Sweet name.
That's a 5-star sweet name.
Well, the worst is don't go Google it. You're going to be brokenhearted. He's a beautiful sweetheart of a creature. He used to jump up and look at you, and he let you pet him, and he was a sweetheart. It's the worst. He had whiskers and a beard, and he was like gray.
It's too late. I'm about to
go look him up.
But to be depressed.
You're going to be really depressed before you look at Snooty, Tom. Let me tell you how this guy died.
Oh.
So I wasn't wrong. He drowned. Some knucklehead really screwed this all up. It was in the evening. He was found in an underwater plumbing access area before the park opened on July the 23rd. Somebody who was supposed to close the panel door forgot to do so. Snooty, bored out of his mind, no doubt, overnight, swimming about his aquarium there while it's quiet, nobody's around, began to explore. He found his way inside that panel door. It should have been bolted shut. It was ordinarily bolted shut. It was of the utmost importance that they bolt that panel door shut. You can't, under any circumstance, not close and lock and bolt this damn door.
In the grand scheme of things, it's Butch's watch from Pulp Fiction.
That's correct. That's correct.
Could forget anything else.
But you got to go back to get the watch. Correct. So somehow, and they're trying to, I'm sure, deflect from their dumbass employee. They think that it got knocked loose. Nonsense. The dude forgot to close it. Anyhow, Snooty got inside, and he got stuck. He was going one way down that hall, if you will, where the plumbing is, and when he tried to turn around to go back out into his tank, he could not turn around. He was too big, too old. He didn't have the strength, and he couldn't get turned around, and he was stuck with the flow of water in his face, and he couldn't get away, and it became overwhelming, and he drowned a slow death there, stuck in the damn plumbing of the aquarium. Not a way to die for anybody or anything, and he was 69 years old. Damn it, man. Incompetence strikes again, and a deadly reminder that you don't hire kids that don't know what they're doing. Brutal.
I've seen many photos now of Snooty in the time it took for that story.
He was a lovey.
He was
a lovey.
This is a dark day, even though it was years ago, almost 3 years ago.
When Snooty needed us most, and he cried out for help,
there
was nobody there to help Snooty. in that moment, stuck in a hallway of death.
Why are you pouring salt in these wounds,
Just
man?
letting you know,
They're fresh.
It angers
they are
me.
fresh wounds.
Yeah. There is still footage of Snooty, years and years worth of Snooty when he wasn't drowning, that you can find. Also should note that the staff had tried. You can find it there on WFLA, News Channel 8.
Boy, how about the person who got that assignment?
Yeah. They had to interview. Well, imagine, this was brutal. This story made it all over the country. If you Google that, you'll find him in the Washington Post and New York Times. Like, this story went nationwide. That incompetence exposed across the country. And then the poor bastard who had to sit up there at the podium, who loves Snooty, had been working there for years with Snooty, is like breaking down in tears, explaining how this poor thing died. Stuck. They attempted to explain it away, but they really struggled. I would not have. I would have just released a statement. I don't think I'd have had anybody go up there to the dais. That's a toughie. Because that's not like quick and easy. See, I might have even lied, Tom. I got to tell you, if I were ahead of that aquarium, we would have had a group meeting. Now, guys, he died in his sleep last night at the age of 69. Snooty was old as hell.
Everyone knows this.
Everybody knows Snooty was very, very old. He didn't drown, desperate for help. Well, none came. He struggled mightily, stuck in a hallway of death. That's not what happened. Instead, he died peacefully as he swam in the tranquil waters here of the Bradenton Marine Aquarium. Heart just gave out. Lights went out. Snooty went to his resting place. Not in a struggle, not in fear.
And we will be reminded every morning that the sun rises that is the echo of Snooty's soul welcoming us another day.
Yes. So I think maybe, I don't know. You got to know your staff really well. Got to know who knows.
Well, I could tell one person would agree with the manager. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. We should do that.
That's a beautiful idea.
Yeah. Thanks, Frank. I'm sure you love that idea.
This is your last meeting here, by the way, Frank.
Frank, I'm sure you're not going to say a thing to anybody now, are you? As for the rest of you. That's a brutal one.
Man.
But Christy was upset when she told me about it.
I'd be upset, especially if you met Snooty.
Yeah, we did.
That's messed up.
She told me, she said, I remember she was heartbroken. And they described it at the dais as a heartbreaking accident. See, that's how employees get punched. That's how people get hurt. That's where you don't have an HR meeting or a talking to. That's Alec Baldwin turning and punching after the botched,
Right. Patriot Act. That's how that employee gets waterboarded for a few seconds. This is what Snooty went through. Only
he never got a reprieve.
That's right. I could keep going.
The lights went out on Snooty.
I could keep going.
You'll go out to dinner tonight.
Your stepmom says she wouldn't even miss you.
There's no way to to translate, or I should say, segue into some other form of sports talk here. So we'll break and come back and get into something less morbid. But it was Snooty, 69, drowned.
Rest in peace.
It's like when I told you about your boy dying. That's
Michael Clark Duncan is not going to be unseated by Snooty. But still, that's terrible.
It is terrible. It's the Jeff Cameron Show. Me that our floors were unacceptable, I knew one thing to be true. We were getting new floors. I know nothing about flooring. Honestly, who does? They're floors. I asked around, and folks, that's correct, folks, and that's who I want to hear from when getting flooring advice, told me to call Brian Barnard's Flooring America. And you guessed it, I did, and I'm glad I did. And you will be too. They're professional, they're efficient, and they're informative. I learned a lot, but more importantly, I got beautiful floors. Give them a call today, 850-386-8689. Brian Barnard, Flooring America, where friends send friends.
This hour on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by AAA Tree Experts in Landscaping. AAA Tree Experts in Landscaping reminds you to prepare your property for hurricane season. Call AAA Tree Experts in Landscaping today, 385-3319. That's 385-3319.
This spring, I'm making Everyday Earth Day by incorporating small actions that can create big results.
Like what?
Well, I'm starting with daily habits. Turning off the lights every time I leave a room, shutting off the tap when I brush my teeth, and unplugging electronics when I'm not using them.
Those are great ideas our whole family can do.
And since we're home more, I could also use your help with a few one-time projects that could benefit us long-term, like fixing water leaks and installing our rain barrel.
I'd love to help. Right after I call the City of Tallahassee Utilities at 891-4968 to sign up for paperless billing.
Excellent. Tonight, let's ask the kids if they have any ideas about what we can do to save energy, water, and money as we celebrate Earth Day at home.
2020 marks the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and there are many things TLH can do to celebrate at home. Get inspiration at tlhcando.com. Small actions create big results. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities.
Not all law firms are equal, so here's why Fonville Lewis Meshmer McConaughey was recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm. First, we only take real cases. If your car was barely bumped and you think you're going to get rich, we're not the firm for you. We limit our practice to serious cases with legitimate claims. Second, we only take cases involving real injuries. If you know you aren't hurt but think you can fool your way into a quick settlement, we're not the firm for you. We encourage our clients to heal up and get better, not sit on the couch and expect a windfall. Third, we don't want clients who are just in it for the money. If the very first thing you think of after getting hurt is calling pound something or other on your cell phone instead of calling 911, we're not the firm for you. Your health should always come first. And finally, we won't blow smoke about a big money outcome just to get your case. Other firms overpromise and underdeliver. Our only promise is that we'll work harder than anyone to get you the best result. Remember, the law firm you have representing you makes all the difference, so don't settle for less. Call Fonville Lewis Meshmer McConaughey and let us put our reputation to work for you.
Sellers Tile does it better for business owners, contractors, designers, and homeowners. Better design ideas, better quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring, better mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions. And Sellers makes it easier with their amazing showroom and first-class professionals. Maybe it's time to get Sellers working for you on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com for better style, quality, and design. Go with Sellers in Tallahassee. Call 656-8453.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Because there hasn't been a whole lot of people here, Stugotz just came into the room laughing, okay, where I could hear his muffled laughter from behind a mask, and this is what he said. This is a quote. Anybody who sticks their hand in that bucket of candy deserves whatever they get after that. Because that bucket of cheap, crappy candy has been there for a long time, and he is so very right. And the only way it would have been funnier is if he had looked at me and I had a bunch of candy in my mouth.
Things keep happening, man. I'm not used to this. Where my hand was halfway in, I'm like, whoops.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness, science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-inspired. 2 Tallahassee locations. For more information, head to orangetheoryfitness.com today to start your journey.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio, the ACC network, which features slight after slight after slight directed at Florida State University and its athletic programs on the regular, did something yesterday that stunned me. Probably because it shed a light on impressive records by Duke and Virginia. We just happened to have a better one. So they had to include us. It would have just been too obvious otherwise. But they tweeted out, "There's no place like home." And then they had the little emoji, the googly eyes looking at something. And it was a home. It's a house. Which is my favorite of all the little avatars.
It's a really strong emoji.
Yeah, it's a good one. The eyes. It's really good. So they, in the picture there, the post, they have ACC men's basketball home record since 2016-2017, since that season. And they've got Zion there in the middle, all that. But it's Duke at 60-6. All right, so Duke has 3 more losses than Florida State does in that time period and 2 fewer wins. But there they sit front and center. To the right is Virginia, who, while impressive, and yes, they garnered a national championship in that run, a mere 57-9 at home. Kid stuff. Average.
For the reputation of the JPJ, if you said what percent of their home games have they won, you wouldn't even, I mean, that would be so low that you would say, wow, they're underachieving at home.
Yeah, 57-9. And then there's big, bad Florida State, where when playing at the TLC-CC, one does not stroll in and expect to walk away with a victory.
Stick 'em in your mouth and suck 'em.
Florida State is 62-3.
Stick 'em in your mouth and suck 'em.
62-3.
Stick 'em in your mouth and suck 'em.
Since 2016-2017, and that is a gaudy, dominant record.
Stick 'em in your mouth and suck 'em.
It is the best home record of the nation since 2016.
Stick 'em in your mouth and suck 'em.
Whole lot of that for road teams.
Stick 'em in your mouth and suck 'em.
But, you know, we have certainly documented for years on end here on the Jeff Cameron Show. First, admittedly, in order to somewhat mock a program in dire straits, but then rather to uplift and celebrate and draw attention to. In due time, that happened, and people went from snickering to, you know, he's got a point. They're pretty damn good at home. Eventually, not only was it, you know, he's got a point, they're pretty damn good at home, it became, you know, Florida State is the best damn home team in the country in the sport of college basketball.
Stick 'em in your mouth and suck 'em.
Admittedly, I never thought I'd be able to say that about any time period. A week, let alone years on end.
We went 2-0 at home this week. Tied for the best record in the nation.
There was certainly a time where, you know, the positive basketball note of the day was exactly what you thought it was. Eventually, we needn't go down that road. We didn't have to find inspiration amongst the clutter of suck. No. We instead were able to point to a myriad successes.
What would be your favorite home game? First one that comes to mind in this stretch of time since we went undefeated in 2016, all the way through the present day.
Oh my God!
There are so many to choose from.
Yeah, that
right?
one's hard. The Louisville comeback was so.
That's the most recent exclamation
Well,
point.
but that I'm gonna say that one because of the intensity of the moment, the overwhelming momentum, the tangible feeling. The visceral. You could sense that there was something unstoppable about what was happening. Not only were the players playing well, but the wave of momentum generated, the energy from the fans that the players admitted to later that they fed off of, it was palpable. It was everywhere. You and I were in the Vista. It was unreal. It was I just remember getting goosebumps, and that doesn't happen that often for a regular season college basketball game. And, of course, it's all punctuated by the dunk with Patrick Williams and eventually Trent Forrest's, emphatic F-U dunk is just, you posterize somebody to that extent.
Yeah, I think a top 5 actually has to be the Duke game that we lost. Because it had a similar energy to it the entire way.
Such a hurtful shot. Everything about the pass – everything about the play is just admittedly well done, and we're guarding against the two for good reason, and, you're worried about baseline, and then, man, all of a sudden, as that inbounds pass goes in, you're like, he's wide open. And if you want to talk about crediting really good players, that's how you know that a guy can really play. The Duke's had a few of these. I remember every time the ball got kicked out to J.J. Redick, you just turn away, right? It's like Kyle Guy at Virginia. Oh, really? Okay, that's going to happen.
Mike Patrick is on the line. John Shire is one of the great Blue Devils.
No, but it used to drive me nuts because you just see. Look, there are guys in the NBA who do that. That's just a testament to their consistency and how time and again they're open. That's a wide open look. He's not going to miss that.
Oh, it's on this day, however many years ago, that Ray Allen hit the corner three.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're a Spurs fan, that couldn't have been Udonis Haslem.
Anybody other than
the loose
him.
ball had to go to Ray Allen. Couldn't have been LeBron. Had to be
right.
Ray Allen.
Ray Allen, right? He's going to hit that. And it's you look at that. I remember that you and I, same thing. We were like, I think we
could see right through it.
Oh, we could see. You could see through the glass.
Through the glass. I mean, it was on a line.
Oh, yeah. You had to hope it was deep. That's all you could hope for. Because it was straight
back
on.
iron. Yeah, back iron was
You just had to hope
hope.
It was deep. You're like, maybe that's deep. No, that's nothing but net. Looked like it was going to be. Nothing but
it looked as routine as a shoot-around, didn't it?
Oh,
there was
so
no
casual.
worry in his body language.
Oh, so casual. This is like, you stupid bitches, let me wide open. I mean, this is like, he just couldn't wait.
I think every Louisville game we've played in that time has been a classic, though.
Oh,
we had the
so
overtime game against Mac.
Well, yeah, the one that we started out like 16-0.
That was against Patino.
Yeah.
Saw him the night before at
Old
level
Rick
8.
was up there at level 8.
With his granddaughter.
Mm.
That's the only reason I'm here.
Then she went to bed, and he was probably talking to the waitresses.
That's a beautiful dress. What is that, Chanel?
Yeah, man, that was, I can still... So many, we've been very fortunate. Let's just put it that way. We've been very fortunate, and it's nice of the ACC network to have posted something that puts us in a very, very glorious light, shining. I mean, it's probably the nicest gesture they've made, and of course, it happens because it's in basketball, and they value basketball. So begrudgingly, they're putting together the home records, and somebody on the staff went, "Damn it, Florida State guys! Hey, fellas, I don't know if we want to do this." I know, John, you said Virginia. Rick, you said Duke. The research is telling us it's Florida State. Do we still want to post this graphic? Yeah, go with it, but put Duke in the middle. Okay, I guess we'll put Duke in the middle.
Put them all on the same line. Don't have the 3D effect of the middle.
Yeah. Just make sure it's a good picture of like Zion taking up the middle portion of the screen there. Don't pick a superstar player for Florida State. Pick a guy that was there for maybe a year, good player, but not one of their best.
Who
that
is
had
it?
repeated successes. I think it's Patrick Williams. I closed it out.
You couldn't put Terrence Mann or Trent Forrest, who embodies like the whole time period?
Right.
Who's your favorite player to watch in that time
Trent
period?
Forrest. Terrence Mann was a lot of fun because he was just a Energizer Bunny who's stat sheet stuffer. He was
watching Fee play though when he get on a roll because he does everything.
Yeah,
everything. The trailer,
the
three.
straight on three, yeah, and then of course he's so strong in the post. That there have been some really good players. Listen, I think we both realize Patrick Williams was on his way to becoming a truly special player here. That was going to be a guy next year. He would have averaged 20.
He just looked like if you were a little kid in the pool and then dad emerges and jumps to get a ball out of the water and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, larger than life.
He did that with people who are at the pinnacle of, athletes in college sports.
Well, and I think it's interesting. A lot of, Florida State's one of my favorite things about this, and since we're talking about what they posted with the home record and all that, is that not only has the passion for Florida State basketball grown to a place where you can have a home record like this, where it is admittedly by other coaches, very successful coaches, who themselves house an incredible atmosphere because of their previous years of success, are open to admitting how difficult it is to go win in Tallahassee. Now, Krzyzewski can't praise this place enough. He does it all the time. To his credit, he does. He praises Coach Ham and this program and this environment as one of the best. You have a guy who never would have 4 years ago, but now champions it. He's been won over in Jay Billis. Billis used to just he would kind of side-slap us.
Well, they were part of the game day broadcast that was here before the Dolphins game. And none of the kids showed up. They said, we're never coming back to Tallahassee again. This is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great game, but why would we come here for an atmosphere? There is no atmosphere.
Right. And so he was obviously, cynical, but then he's had the opportunity to come back during this magnificent run where we've changed style of play, the level of athleticism, the speed of the game, the depth of the talent, and obviously the wins and the losses have dictated change of mindset, and he has gone in on that. I think his willingness to argue for Florida State during a discussion on SportsCenter when he didn't have to, he advocated. So that obviously they've changed minds. They've changed opinions of people who are entrenched in following ACC basketball, which is quite the hoity-toity bunch. But it's interesting to see that. But I think the other thing that's happened during this run that I think is very important, and I really probably could not have guessed this could happen. I thought we could get to a place where we were a team of significance, if you will, on an annual basis, and that we would go something like 8 out of 10 years to the NCAA tournament. I thought that was possible. But we've surpassed it in many ways because we're going to the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, and we're winning regular season titles. I didn't think was necessarily going to happen. The fans have become more educated. Our fan base has become a more educated fan base in the sport of basketball. They've always been sneaky smart with basketball. The ones that go, the ones
that always go.
Yeah, they're sneaky smart basketball people. They exist here. But they now exist in a much larger number than before this streak. It's really interesting because I'll tell you, this all dates back to the beginning, or this all circles back to the conversation starter, which is you asking me about, or us talking about Patrick Williams. I got so many emails from diehard Florida State fans and people that were really, getting into this team and talking about what their strengths and weaknesses were or what was possible. And so many emails usually kind of ended with this, hey, by the way, Jeff, I know you've been going to these games for 20-plus years just like I have, or even longer now, good Lord, 30 years. But have you ever seen anybody, while standing in a crowd full of very tall, athletic, strong individuals like we see nightly in the ACC, seemingly glide and rise above effortlessly so frequently as we have Patrick Williams this year to procure a rebound? And that's exactly right. Very rare to see that. Now, Zion was a special, special guy, and we obviously only got to see him for a half here.
Yeah, best play he made was the pass, the touchdown pass.
Yeah,
and a breakout.
But you could see just the menacing figure and strength and fluidity and size and speed and everything. You could tell, probably watching him on a nightly basis would just leave your mouth agape. I mean, just who can do that at that size, right? I got you. But we only got to see him in person for a half. But watching Patrick Williams, you really did see time and again, at least one moment every game, at least at home, where, okay, ball comes off the rim, fairly predictable rebound. It's not an awkward angle. And everybody, 4 guys go for the same rebound. And all of a sudden, he just rises above by a foot.
Yeah, the bottom of his number on the back of his jersey is visible from the other side of the court.
It was just... Well, did I see that
other
right?
dude's at the small of his back.
Yeah.
What is this?
And those guys are jumping. They're giving all of their effort. It was, we should revel in that for a little while. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Business owners and CEOs apply now for the Tallahassee Small Business Executive Program, designed to help business owners and CEOs think differently and become more efficient in running their businesses. This program is presented by the Jim Moran Institute in Florida State University's College of Business, offered at no cost to the participant. The program meets once a month beginning in August. More information is available at jimmoraninstitute.fsu.edu. That's jimmoraninstitute.fsu.edu.
Hey guys, Jeff Cameron here. You'll be hearing more from me in the coming weeks as my journey back to Orange Theory Fitness, well, it's begun. I know that for all of us, as we slowly emerge from self-quarantine, got to feel safe. Feel safe in the places we choose to spend our time, right? And most importantly, we need to know that individuals and or companies have our health and best interest in mind, and I can tell you this is most certainly the case at Orange Theory Fitness. As a member, I like to take classes 4 days a week, bare minimum. And I ventured back over to do some training just as they open this week, and I can attest to the steps taken to ensure your safety. Well, they're extraordinary, frankly. I doubt you can find a hospital as clean as Orange Theory Fitness is currently and will remain dedicated to being. So if you're concerned, maybe a little unsure, well, that's okay. But just know Orange Theory Fitness is open once again and is 100% dedicated to ensuring you get back into shape safely in an environment you can trust. Give Orange Theory Fitness a try today or check them out at orangetheoryfitness.com. Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Come visit the new and exciting Hangar 38. This amazing place is for everyone listening right now. Practice your bowling skills, compete, and have fun. Whether you're a newbie, an all-star, or a beer frame champion, no matter how you roll, you'll find the best place to bowl is at Hangar 38. Hangar 38 is home to over 75 arcade games, so they're sure to have something for everyone. Zeppelin's at Hangar 38 is a premier, full-service restaurant and sports bar, and it's also your place for birthday parties and company outings. Tallahassee, what are you waiting for? Come on out to Zeppelin's Hangar 38, 6668 Thomasville Road behind Walgreens.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Redemption Thursday, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Got a do-it-yourself project that needs to be finished? Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Avenue in Tallahassee and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Online at ctf.nu.
Lord, I've really been real stressed. Sit down and
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Oh, that's good to hear. I didn't read that until just now. Alshon Jeffrey, great player. Forgot about how good he was at South Carolina. He's amongst the players, former South Carolina players, stars even, that have come out and said, yeah, it'd be pretty good if South Carolina decided to rename the building that is, or the center that is named after the racist piece of garbage that was Strom Thurmond. And I would concur. You have fairly overwhelming evidence of that piece of crap. It's really kind of sad there was ever a building named after him. Strom Thurmond, get the hell out of here with that nonsense. So good for them. There you go. More and more of that goodness. Want to see more of that every day.
That stadium is within 30 minutes of one of the few coffee destinations in the state of South Carolina. Is that right?
You and I, we were
in Rock Hill, pretty close to Columbia.
Type it in.
Or was I imagining things and drifting off while you were driving and getting us from A to B?
I drive fast, Tom. So,
yeah.
The reality is it may not say that it is, but we may have made it that quickly.
Yeah, it's not A to B. It's just AB is one word.
Just, it's I would tell you that I have my normal diatribe that I go on anytime we enter the state of South Carolina. And we have fun, you and I do, every time we've ever driven through it. But I always praise Rock Hill. One of the reasons that I praise Rock Hill is that it's very un-South Carolinian. It's very much more like North Carolina.
It's an hour away.
Yeah.
Says
I
the map. So you got there in 40
minutes. Yeah.
So I wasn't too far.
You weren't too far off. I think that's what I thought. I was like, a little bit more than 30. I'm pretty good with these time things because I've driven that trek numerous times, and also I know how fast I drive and how quickly we can get there.
Were you referring to the Ninja Muslims?
Well, those are always funny. There's signs everywhere in South Carolina that are, they bemused. I mean, they're hilarious. You're just like, oh, well, we are in South Carolina. Crappy roads and fireworks everywhere.
Like, I'm pretty sure that was a character in Mortal Kombat.
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, it was a
say.
ninja. It was not a Muslim terrorist. It was just a ninja that they used to represent anybody who's Muslim.
They're coming, all caps. Okay.
It's so South Carolina. It's just so, oh, my God. They are what they are. I know not everybody in South Carolina.
It's got Hilton Head, baby. It's got some Hilton Head action.
So I don't want to run the risk of going down that rabbit hole and having conversations about what South Carolina's history looks like. We all know. But I did see, and I have a particular brand of hatred for Strom Thurmond, who was a dreadful human being. So I just really glad that Alshon Jeffrey went, man, why do we have a building named after that guy? I mean, we know what that guy represented. And so if you're South Carolina, the second he did that, the second Alshon Jeffrey stated that publicly, they were like, let's get on that. They're not even really going to argue about that.
They snapped the photo, sent it to Alshon, to the guy removing the letters. Like, dude, we were already on it.
We were on this,
great
buddy.
Minds, Alshon. Great minds.
Well, that meeting, imagine the meetings that are going on all across the South, really all across the country, like at universities. For years, they've walked by certain centers or certain buildings where they're like, that's really unfortunate. We probably should rethink that.
Sure.
And then now there is a huge social shift, a change amongst us, and they're going, yeah, those buildings, guys, I brought this up 10 years ago. We're going to probably need to rename that. That guy actually owns slaves. We're going to have to get rid of this.
Or like the top assistant to the university president, in the last week. How many different universities has the top assistant said, you might want to call a Zoom meeting off the books on this thing?
Yeah.
Because we went through, judging by what's going on around the country, we decided to look at the plaques in these buildings and just cross-reference who these people were.
Yeah.
We've got 4 of them. Got any big boosters?
I mean, this guy here that we named the cafeteria after literally is on film killing somebody on their plantation. We're going to have to probably take that down. Let's get out in front of this, guys. I'm just telling you, I don't know how this even happened. Did you see where Kenyon Drake, has nothing to do with nothing, but this show doesn't really follow protocol that way, said that the Cardinals are going to take the National Football League by storm, and that a team that, as we well know, last year finished 5-10-1, he feels like that will be one of the better teams. They will be one of the most electric teams in the National Football League.
Well, they do have a lot of pieces now that Nuke Hopkins is the centerpiece of the offense. You have Larry Fitz as your number 2.
Who's 105, but okay.
But still more than capable.
Yeah.
And you've got a quarterback who can move around, an offense that is going to lend itself to making all these things work in concert. Yeah, it could happen.
They also drafted Isaiah Simmons on the defensive side of the ball.
That's a good pick.
It's a real good pick. I brought it up because
everybody thought it was going to be C.D. Lamb.
Well, I brought it up because on the surface, you read something like that, and we remember what the Cardinals looked like last year. They had their moments here and there where you go, they may have a little something going here. But 5-10-1 is 5-10-1, and it's
who screwed up in Week 1? Was it the Lions?
Who were up by 30, and then
they got their tie somehow.
Yeah, that's where it is. Yeah, they were up by like 24, something absurd, and it's the Lions. But I remember thinking, okay, this isn't the unmitigated disaster I predicted it would be in year 1 under Cliff Kingsbury. I kind of felt like, all right, that's better than I realized, better than I thought it could be. But when you take a quarterback like Kyler Murray, who is undersized to say the least, now the league has shifted. So we now know you can no longer blanket statement things the way that I used to and many others did because the evidence was overwhelming that if you were a runaround guy in college, it was beaten out of you in the pros. And that kind of player could have marginal success but not sustained success. They might even have a good year, but it would not be sustainable because injuries were sure to come. Rules changes, shifts in philosophy, and embracing of new concepts by offensive coordinators, building teams around players of that ilk, has now allowed for those kinds of players, and I'm talking about mobile quarterbacks of all kinds, Josh Allen, anybody you want, to have success. But Kyler Murray has the other problem here. He's 5'2". So in addition, I know that's a bit much. He's not 5'2". He looks 5'2". If you see that guy, I'm losing. That's it. Headphones are done. I'm losing headphones. Anyhow,
I still hear you, buddy.
Are we on the air? Am I still on the air? What's going on? These headphones are broken. Okay, well, we'll fix it in a moment. But the point would be, so I might as well take these things off. Damn it. The point would be that guy was more successful than I thought he could be, and I'm beginning to wonder that, well, all right, if he does it for another year or so, I might begin to believe. Because I think, given his diminutive stature, I still worry about injury, even though he was better last year than I thought he'd be, and he might be better this year than I expect him to be, but he's tiny.
Let's see, how do I respond and project so you can hear me without yelling at the people on the radio?
I can hear you.
You can hear me, Mad Dog?
I can hear you, Mad Dog.
You still have to have an exceptional offensive line. You still have to have a first-rate offensive line for that guy to have a 10-year career. And that's for starters before you get to aptitude. He might not be good enough. It might just be that the system is new and defenses are like, well, what exactly is this? And then they'll figure it out. But getting Nuke Hopkins certainly helps your chances.
Well, it helps a lot, but in addition to it helping a lot, all I'll say is I went from saying no how, no way, under any circumstances, that guy going to work out in the National Football League to he might. That's a good year one. If you achieve that, not that you have to satiate my concerns, but if you do, through solid play on more than one occasion for a prolonged period, a couple quarters at a time, he looked good, I'd go, okay, I'm going to give you another year. Let's see if we take a step forward here. I would say I'm not telling you he's going to be great, and I don't think he will be. But I'm not going to rule out the possibility that it could work a little bit better than I thought. I think I'd have right now more confidence in him having success 2 and 3 years from now than Allen in Buffalo. And that's doing some things right there. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Shall be cleaning all the windows.
AAA Tree Experts and Landscaping. Tree Experts and Landscaping today. 385-3319. That's 385-3319. Or online at AAATreeExperts.net. AAATreeExperts.net.
Phase 2 at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is in full swing, where you can enjoy Tallahassee's best jumbo wings and the coldest beers in town. Check out the latest Corner Pocket Bar and Grill wing special, an unbeatable value for the best wings in town. 50 delicious jumbo wings, 2 baskets of fries, and a gallon of tea or soda for only $45. That's right, 50 of Tallahassee's best wings, a couple of baskets of fries, and a gallon of tea or soda for only $45. Head to cptallybar.com today to put in your online order for takeout or delivery, or just head by 2475 Appalachia Parkway and see why Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is now open late nights.
It's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shop's Father's Day sale. For a limited time only, trade in your old clubs and receive a 50% bonus trade-in towards any participating Cobra inline golf clubs. All Nike, Adidas, Puma, and Under Armour apparel is now 25% off. Check out the Bushnell Tour V5 rangefinder, which measures up to 400 yards to the flag. And introducing Bushnell's Wingman, the world's first Bluetooth speaker with audible GPS distances. Edwin Watts Golf Shop's Father's Day sale going on now. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Barry knows school. He's keeping comfortable, very no school. You can put them to the test.
Your home has been a place of great comfort. We can help you keep it that way. Barano Heating and Air is helping you get ready for summer with $1,500 off select new units, 0% financing for qualified buyers, plus worry-free maintenance plans. Learn more or schedule online at baranoac.com. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air today. Florida license CAC 1816186.
Oh, yes, you've thought about it, but now it's time to enjoy the moss-drenched live oak, rolling hills, and pristine greens of Southwood Golf Club. Our friends at Southwood Golf Club offer individual, family, and student memberships, and now offer the all-in membership. That's right, never pay a card fee when you play. Don't forget, at Southwood Golf Club, it's not just about the golf. Hit the clubhouse for brunch, or maybe enjoy trivia night, live music, happy hour, and all-you-can-eat night specials, too. For membership information or to join right now, just call 850-942-4653. Southwood Golf Club is ready to make you a member. 850-942-4653.
The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. Learn how living in the Orange Zone will lead you to a more healthy and vibrant life today. And head to orangetheoryfitness.com.
To be so damn tough, I don't know where I can go.
Alabama and Ohio State scheduling a home-and-home series. We briefly referenced it in hour number one. Want to bring this up. Normally when these things happen, I get more excited about the announcement of potentially blockbuster matchups in the world of college football than others. And they'll always point out, that's great, they're playing in 2030, Jeff. You know, I'm glad you're excited about that matchup. But this one's different. This is not that far off. 2027 is not that far away, at least in my eyes. It'll be here before you know it, kids. Time flies. Ohio State, Alabama, home and home. Thankfully, it's not, neutral site. I hate neutral site games. I want home and home. I want to think about the idea of traveling as a fan to other universities. We talk about this a lot. And so those two fan bases get to do it. But I told Tom off the air that what I was really hoping for when this matchup is played is that both teams are unranked. It'd be nice if these guys would finally disappear. I recently listened to, and I brought it up on the air, an Answer One Mortgage pregame show from way back in the day. T. Lizzie remembers those days. Maybe not that far back.
I was but a student, I think.
Yeah.
At that
so
point.
the AOM pregame show from 2004 is what I'm referencing, and it's myself and Eric Llewell and Matt Millar producing, and Brian Willard back in the studios. Good show. My guest was Leon Washington, and I listened to the whole thing from start to finish. It was awesome. But that said, as I was listening to it, there was a scoreboard update because our game was an evening game or a 3:30 game at the very least. So the earlier games were on. And one of the things that stood out was that the announcement of the Auburn-Alabama score was a stunner because Alabama was upsetting Auburn, and it just didn't seem like that could be possible. So to hear it, right, to hear somebody say, Brian Willard goes, a stunner brewing in Alabama as the Tide currently lead Auburn 17-10 in the second quarter or whatever, kind of made me laugh. It also made me laugh that it was shocking to see that number 7 Michigan could be trailing Ohio State, unranked Ohio State, but they were. Now, at that time, it led you and I to have the conversation about how frequently Ohio State has just drubbed Michigan in the last 25 years.
Yes.
An insane number of times.
More than you think if you didn't hear that segment.
18 of 20?
They have lost twice, Ohio State has, since 2001. So they're not quite to 20 games yet.
I mean, that's ridiculous. It's not quite 4 to Tennessee from back in the day. I mean, that is something, right? Weren't they going on a double?
Tennessee's beaten Florida twice since the turn of the century. Or 4 times, excuse me.
4.
Twice as many times as Michigan has beaten Ohio State.
Good God, man. Woo! Hurt your feelings. Anyhow, that said, so can you imagine if we lost 17 out of 19 times to Miami or Florida?
It felt like it was going to go that way when I was a student.
Yeah,
with the Florida series.
It sure did.
But it didn't.
The Crimson Tide will go to Ohio Stadium on September the 18th, 2027. 7 is the date there. Ohio State will go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to play the Tide September the 9th, 2028 in Bryant-Denny Stadium. The running of the Gumps, all the fatty fats that you've seen running through that tunnel.
That's one thing Nick Saban doesn't miss right now. Fan days. They've gone the way of the dodo in the time of COVID.
That is true. No more fan days at your, in that case, at the stadium. In our case, here at the TLC-CC.
I think his top people in the office, they waited for the moment that he was losing his mind because of the interruptions of COVID in spring practice. And they said, Coach, one good thing, what is that? No more running of the Gumps, Coach. There is no more fan day. And a small wry grin appeared for just a tenth of a second
smile
before the anger returned.
The series will be the first regular season game between the schools since they met in the Kickoff Classic. Tom, I remember this in the Meadowlands in New Jersey. I remember it. You do not. It was 1986. Oh, what a year. August 27th, 1986.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was about ready to say hi to the world.
You sure were. I was in high school hitting on beautiful ladies. And
I just heard.
I heard the sound of my Volkswagen Bug and the hair blowing in the wind as I drove down 34th Street. That's what I heard. But August 27th, 1986, I no doubt was watching Alabama and Ohio State. The two schools have played 4 times, all neutral site games. Alabama won the Kickoff Classic as well as the 1978 Sugar Bowl and the 1995 Florida Citrus Bowl. But the Buckeyes won the most important of their games, a semifinal matchup in the first ever college football playoff, Tom, and we were in California at a bar.
Yep, that's right. Having a margarita.
Maybe. Underdog Ohio State overcame a 21-6 deficit to not only beat Alabama, but dominate that ass into the second half. Remember that? We were stunned as that transpired.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes. Alabama had a ton of chances early on.
Mm-hmm.
No, forgive me. Ohio State had a ton of chances early on, and they came away with 3s instead of 7s in the red zone. And you thought, well, that's it.
It was 21-6, and we were like, you blew it.
Right. And then it didn't matter. It didn't matter that they came away empty-handed in the red zone because then they just pounded Alabama with great physicality.
The moment that I recognized in earnest that Ohio State had the same level of elite level depth, size, and speed as Alabama happens in the third quarter of that game when I began to realize Alabama's getting worn out in the trenches. They're getting beat up, and I couldn't believe it. It was just battering ram moment after battering ram moment, and it set up the long passes as well. That all born out of physicality and a willingness to run the quarterback and just things that you saw where you thought, I didn't think this could happen to Alabama.
Yeah, it was one of the great accomplishments in championship history, not because it was the first of its kind, but because it was their third-string quarterback that they were doing this with. That's just absurd.
Yeah, and if you recall, I remember thinking, man, if Ohio State completes this at the time, you'd have to say this is the most impressive national championship ever won because it was the first where you were having to beat not one but 2 elite teams on your way to a title. And so to take out Alabama, which – I mean, we knew at that point, it was the party was over. Whoever won that game felt like they were going to win the national championship.
Just how many programs in America could do that with a third guy on their depth chart when the season kicks off?
Yeah, no, it's nuts. Under Coach Nick Saban, who, by the way, was once an Ohio State assistant, Alabama is 157 wins, 23 losses in 13 years. Obviously, he's won 5 national titles for the Crimson Tide. He'll be 75 years old if they play that game in 2027, and he still resides on the sideline. He'll be 75.
That'll be a young 75. He doesn't do anything but live for this thing.
It is rather remarkable to look at him and think that he's, 68.
He and Mac Brown are essentially the same age. They look very different. They carry themselves very differently.
Nick is studying film somewhere right now, isn't he?
Absolutely. Either of a recruit or, I don't know, an opponent coming up in freaking November.
I wonder if we'll never know. And he's had a life that has allowed him to make millions of dollars. He has succeeded beyond probably his wildest dreams as a kid in West Virginia. You don't garner that many championships and not think that you have done something with your coaching career or your chosen profession, something significant. But I do wonder two things. I wonder when he's old, near death's door, will he look back and think about all the time he spent watching football, coaching football, evaluating football? And B, does it haunt him that he didn't win in the way that I'm sure he thought he was going to win when he went to the National Football League? Because if you're that driven and you're that focused and you're that detail-oriented and you're that competitive, it's got to bother you a little bit. And he wasn't as bad with the Dolphins as people remember.
Right. But it was one choice. If not Dante Culpepper, then he's probably still there, right?
Yes. Yeah, probably is. And I wish that had worked out. I wish, because whatever, Drew Brees probably would have won some titles down there in Miami.
Oh, it would have been a balance of power, sure.
Yeah, it would have shifted everything. New England wouldn't have become what they became. We wouldn't have had to watch Drew Brees light our ass up in New Orleans every year. And damn it if Alabama would surely be scuffling. I don't know if they would be scuffling, but they wouldn't be the juggernaut that they've been. All because of that decision. Damn it, man. Final hour forthcoming.
We're on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by AAA Tree Experts in Landscaping. AAA Tree Experts in Landscaping reminds you to prepare your property for hurricane season. Call AAA Tree Experts in Landscaping today, 385-3319. That's 385-3319.
At Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, we are open and ready for business. There's never been anything quite like the all-new Jeep Gladiator, engineered from the ground up to be a true pickup truck, backed by legendary Jeep brand 4x4 capability. Now, drive forward with employee pricing on all new Jeep Gladiators. Save up to $6,309 off MSRP. We can't be stopped celebrating these deals. America's most loyal pickup owners, Ram. Outrageous discounts up to $11,000 off MSRP on some remaining 2019 Rams. Receive 0% for 72 months on almost 12 models and save thousands. These savings are shocking. Drive forward only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on the corner of Capitol Circle and West Tennessee. We're right on the corner and always right on the price. Must qualify through Chrysler Credit for special financing. All rebates and incentives apply, plus tax tag and dealer fee. Jeep pricing on all Gladiators excluding Rubicon and Overland.
Business owners and CEOs apply now for the Tallahassee Small Business Executive Program, designed to help business owners and CEOs think differently and become more efficient in running their businesses. This program is presented by the Jim Moran Institute in Florida State University's College of Business, offered at no cost to the participant. The program meets once a month beginning in August. More information is available at jimmoraninstitute.fsu.edu. That's Jim Moran Institute.fsu.edu.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
On behalf of my good friends over at Bumpus Local 349, I wish to let you know, hey, the patio is open and the drinks, they're flowing. Yes, they're operating at 50%. They're practicing social distancing for your safety, of course. Bumpus Local 349 invites you to enjoy the Wingman Special. 25 wings plus 2 orders of fries and a bucket of ice-cold beers for $38.95. That's next to nothing. And by the way, if you're more comfortable, curbside pickup available all day, every day at Bumpus Local 349. They also sell your favorite alcoholic drinks to go as well. So that's an idea. Call 850-999-8562 to place your pickup order, or for deliveries, you can contact Bite Squad. It's Bumpus Local 349. Remember, eat local, drink local, and be local.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Redemption Thursday, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Got a do-it-yourself project that needs to be finished? Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Avenue in Tallahassee and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Online at ctf.nu.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. I appreciate you. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you're going to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything, but if you do, go back and caught up at your leisure. Woo! On fire today. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. We're on YouTube. Hello, YouTubers. I'm looking like a hippie today. Look at all this hair. Look at all this. I'm threatening to grow it out.
You sounded disappointed to see the YouTubers.
No.
On YouTube. Hello, YouTubers.
No. Hey, guys. How are you?
Hi, Frank. It's great to see you.
No. There you go, everybody. I'm waving. I just look at all that. Look at all that hair. I've had I don't know what's going on. Maybe the heat is opening up the pores on the top of my head. Maybe sweating it out at OTF. I don't know.
Sprouting it out at OTF.
Yeah, who knows? What if I have more hair than I realize and I could be growing a Tom Brady-like coif?
Oh, I'm sure that's exactly what you could do.
I don't think so. I have this huge. I can't see it, and so it's why I tend to remain hopeful whenever my hair gets this length. It's like I can lie to myself briefly because I can't see the back of my head.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that it's a big bridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you told me for Halloween I had to dress as Tom Kite, which I'm going to do.
Which is fantastic.
I'm going to get the oversized glasses.
Get them, the monsters.
And I'll do the resting face.
Yeah, do the resting face.
For the whole day.
Got to get the rope belt with tight pants.
But if you've got the Andrew Luck monk thing going on back there, is that what you say?
Is that what he has too?
It's like the circle
big
of
bald spot. Yeah.
Then you got to grow it out starting like the 15th, so then you could put on a monk robe with the big robe,
Oh,
and you
wouldn't
could
that
be
be
like,
good?
yeah.
I have not grown my hair out, like grown it out since I started shaving it, which is, 10 years ago now? I mean, more?
No, you had some hair the day we started ESPN.
So a little spiky hair.
I see
had
those
a little
photos every year that say, what a memory.
Oh, yeah. So I had a little bit enough there where the bridge was okay, but I was balding. Yeah, I still spiked that up. I kept it really short. I knew I wasn't trying to fool anybody, but it finally disconnected. And when that disconnected, I was like, okay, we're done here. We're just going to go ahead and shave it. Anyhow, I haven't grown it out since. This is the longest it gets. And then I shave it. This is going to bother me. So tonight I'll shave it. But if I were to go past this threshold, I am curious, but it begins to look stupid. It's like I'm growing clown poofs. They just grow out like that because there's nothing really. It's all dead grass in the middle. So just like, that's it.
But if you manicured it for a couple of weeks, just,
trimming
different.
it?
Yeah, right. Then you would have the monk look and you could just get the flowing brown robe. That would look phenomenal for Halloween.
I may try. Well, it's June, so yeah, we'll wait.
Call your brother Cameron.
I'll do it. I'll have fun with it. I'm going to look awfully odd when I'm in the aisles at Publix or something. People are like, look at this guy living a lie.
You could send a photo to Lulu and say, hey, man, Tampa Jesuit. Does this remind you of anything?
Do you think Cam McDonald's going to have a big year? I would tell you this. The top 40 players that we ranked on warchant.com, I was part of that group. And I thought about some things in the last couple of days. Now, obviously, we've had time. There's not a ton of content. Baseball has kind of ruled the day with their shenanigans. And we've also had conversations about what, the procedural efforts are for the NCAA to return to football and what universities are doing. But these are all kind of big picture conversations and some wait-and-see moments ahead of us. But when I was looking at the players, and I'm getting excited now because we're really moving through June, and I understand we're going to have to closely monitor what's happening, but, man, July is really literally right around the corner. And you know as well as I do, when you get into July, a lot of times it's the doldrums, but it's also the light at the end of the tunnel. It's because there's football to be played in August. You literally can say, now you're lying to yourself a little bit, but you can literally say we're a month away from playing football when you're in July because football starts in August.
Oh, buddy. So for July 4th, going up to the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Right, nice.
And we get the day 2 Fridays from now. So this time 2 weeks from now, probably be about out the door on the way up to go to the mountains for July 4th weekend.
Yeah, well, that's going to be fun. And make sure you listen to Driving and Crying Honeysuckle Blues when you do, because he says, have you ever seen the Blue Ridge Mountain Boys?
Oh, well, excellent. I certainly will. We're going to get more fireworks than any proper city because you're going to have people in the woods just shooting them off.
They like to do that.
They do. You get a show for like 3 nights.
Yeah, you do.
It's a spectacle.
Yeah. No, it'll be fun. That'll be good. So anyhow, the point is I started to get, kind of ramped up. And Cam McDonald's a kid I really like because, A, he's a thoughtful individual, and I enjoyed speaking with him at the beginning of this year with the new staff, allowing us to talk to players. He's just he's a fascinating kid, but he's also, 6'4", 240 pounds, and he can run. Now, Cam, if you're listening, there's no doubt you could throw me around like a rag doll, but I hear you're soft. They've talked to me about some softness over there.
They have.
And you can't be soft if you're a tight end that's 6'4", 240 in this offense with the way that he wants to use players at the position. H-back, fullback, tight end, extra blocker, receiver, mismatch. That guy's utilized in Norvell's offense more than most. And he's got to be tough and he's got to be smart. Well, he's got the smart part of it down. And he looks the part. I just hope that the light bulb goes off and that he is engaged because he came in at number 25 on that list.
It could be that a full camp would allow him to go through the contact necessary in order to flip the switch and say, we're good to go. If not, and you need an intervention, I've got two candidates for you. One is Thunder Freddie Stevenson.
Nice.
And the other is Lonnie Pryor, your guy Lonnie.
My man.
I know those are two more traditional fullbacks that didn't go out and releasing routes off of, what a tight end's position would be at pre-snap. But they're two guys that weren't afraid to run your ass over.
No, they were great.
Just as much as they enjoyed getting the ball, they enjoyed doing that part of the job.
Well, I thought I'd posit that, just throw it out there. And it's not for nothing. Just kind of thinking about football a little bit more intentionally right now. Our staff, our players, our season at hand, position battles, who can emerge. He's a guy that came in on that top 40, and that's one of the reasons that I like doing that top 40 is that it gets your mind working in that direction. When you start thinking about depth chart and proper utilization of guys that maybe haven't had a chance to step forward or poorly coached or out of position. And I just, Cam McDonald's one of those guys, man. He's one of 4 or 5 guys that I would circle and say, boy, that guy is not a guy on the tip of the tongue of most Knowles fans in a barroom conversation. But he may be after this year. He may be a guy where you go, okay, we got us a player.
But you're right. There has to be that flip of the switch because if not, then he's not going to be starting, first of all.
Right.
Or if he is and then he still has some issues, the whole world's going to see it.
Well, and I'll tell you, they brought in an athletic tight end.
Yeah.
Boatwright kid is. And then I would also tell you, and he's young, but he's a naturally big guy who can move. Wyatt Rector looked a lot better than I thought he would. I'm not going to lie. I rolled my eyes when they switched positions from quarterback to tight end. I'm like, okay, we'll see.
He's our own Taysom Hill, buddy.
But you know what he is? He's more fluid for a guy who's blocky and really loves the weight room and all that. I have to admit, I wondered if he would be fluid, but he looks better as a receiver than I would have ever given him credit for, and they like him. So good competition there is the point. Real good competition. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Yesterday, and we talked about this a little bit at the 3 o'clock hour, I at least wanted to address it, but, yesterday's show featured that Buster Olney interview that was taped. And so if any of you were wondering, this doesn't seem to be exactly on time right now because they're talking about this, and yet Rob Manfred met with Tony Clark, and there was an announced meeting, especially if you heard that interview in the 5 o'clock hour yesterday. You might be like, wait a minute, they're talking as if they're not meeting. But that was the window that we had Buster Olney in, and it was the day before, and we reran it yesterday. So I just wanted to address that for people that might be a little bit confused. But also to note, because we didn't really get a chance to talk about it either, most of that information kind of trickled in more after the show ended. And I was relieved. I have the sense that Buster would have been too, given how distraught we both are and seem to be over this situation. But Major League Baseball offered a new 60-game proposal to players with full prorated salaries. And obviously this would be Rob Manfred's effort to save face at this point, especially since less than 24 hours previous to that, he had said there would be a full season or a week worth of he's talked about there would be 100% a season of some kind. So he met with union head Tony Clark in Arizona, and this was in an effort to restart the talks. And they're re-engaging in those discussions this afternoon. It's going on as we speak. And obviously they're hoping that all of this leads to them reaching a deal by this weekend. So it probably doesn't get announced today, probably doesn't get announced tomorrow, but by the weekend they're hoping to have something done. It is, and this is the significant aspect of that story, and what's changed, you might ask. Well, because I get that a lot of people are frustrated. They are certainly distracted, have many more important things in their life right now than whether or not baseball comes back. So if you're kind of on the periphery, just checking in from time to time going, those knuckleheads are going to blow it again, I don't blame you. I'm with you. And that's why we're here, Tom, to let you know the finer details, because here is the deal. The significance of this meeting that took place yesterday and the significance of this talk being forwarded and the Manfred-led prorated salary agreement, all that stuff yesterday, is that it's the first time during all of this time that the owners have agreed to pay full prorated salaries. And it led me to ask, as well as the aforementioned Buster Olney and several other people whose articles I read this morning, what gives? Why'd that take you 5 weeks? Why all of a sudden now do you say, okay, we'll do it? We could have done that 5 weeks ago if you were always prepared to do it, which apparently you were. If you were always prepared to do it, you could have done it 5 weeks ago. We could be watching baseball right now.
Yeah, they hate America. That's what they hate America. I'm not kidding. They had July 4th in baseball.
Yeah.
And they said, screw July 4th. That doesn't matter. It's insignificant. If we have to fall back, we can fall back to the 20th of July. No big deal. You hate America, owners. That's what that is.
Well, and all that the owners asked the players for in this deal was that, A, they had to consent to the postseason being expanded. Why wouldn't you? If you're a player, what do you care? It's more money for everybody. What do you care? More teams make it.
Yeah,
Great.
the integrity of the postseason, I wouldn't think that's not a priority for the union.
No, it sounded strange to me. So they said, hey, guys, listen, all right, okay. You can have your prorated salaries that we agreed to back in March. And here's the thing, though. Now, you're going to have to work with me on this. Instead of 10 teams, 16 teams have to make the postseason. Tony Clark, fellas, we good? Yes, we're getting our money.
Yeah.
And potentially more money.
Well, but that's where the extra 10 games can come from. And I think that's probably where the second layer of the negotiations are going. If MLB was always good with doing a 50 to 55 game prorated season, which they were in theory even before this all got going, and the players wanted 115, isn't that what they said originally? Like
114, I think it was.
Whatever it is, 100 plus. Mm-hmm. And they wanted that to carry into October, the regular season, and then they would play the postseason in November. And the owners were like, no. If there's a second wave, it's going to come right then. You're going to cancel the postseason. That's a windfall. We cannot have that. We have to finish our season by September 31. Well, what this is doing is it's creating an expanded playoff field, meaning more money for playoff revenue, to in turn give to the players for an extended period of games. So now we can go prorated to 60 because we've expanded the playoffs because we're making more money from the playoff pool. And the players are saying, oh, really? You can give us 5 more games, huh?
Mm-hmm.
How about 15 more games?
Well,
And
that's
where it's going.
Well, they're going to counter the 60 and say 80 because they had already said they wanted 100 and whatever. Then they came back and said we'll do an 89-game season. So,
and then the owners are saying, we'll give you 75 at 75% pay. And they're like, well, that's the same thing as 50 at full.
Yeah.
Screw you.
It's the same thing, right? What I hope happens is that we get to 81 games. I wanted 81 all along. I almost felt like I would need 81 to invest. Just give me half a season, like a full, a half season's worth of baseball. And then from there, whatever you want to do. This sounds probably irresponsible. I have a sense that no matter what they do, if the second wave is coming, right, that everybody's worried about and they're trying to get it in under the wire, I think we're kind of screwed for postseason anyhow. I think a lot of that stuff will start to be projected sooner than we realize. I would negotiate as if that wasn't a thing. Meaning, I would have contingency plans. Obviously, you're going to play a shortened season either way. And I would have plans for sort of what they're trying to think about with bubble baseball or basketball. I would have plans like that. I'd say, okay, we'll play in these 4 domes. We're going to do it. But I'm not worrying about the second wave right now. We're going to have a contingency plan. What we got to do is play 81 games, and then we start the postseason. There has to be an element of integrity to the season.
No, I hear you. I think what the owners would tell you, though, is if you're not going to give us merchandising and parking and concessions,
but we are going to give you the playoff
tickets. Yeah, but like if there's a second wave, might the nation be in a position where they wouldn't allow you to proceed with a playoff?
Well, that I don't know. That's why I'd want the contingency plan in place to say we're playing in a bubble. We're playing either way.
But maybe the bubble's not available. Like what the owners are saying is we need the guarantee that based upon there is no guarantee in this time. Don't get me wrong.
That's what I mean.
But I mean if October and November, right? If those make all the difference in the world, then we're playing in October. That's what the hell we're doing. And we'll be in a bubble in October before this thing gets bad because influenza is mixed with the second wave of COVID, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. But what they're saying is we're not going to go play a regular season losing money and then not have a postseason, which is what's going to make us whole to a degree.
Yeah, no, I get what they're saying. I would almost – well, they're already going to have to end up playing basically – what do you think it's going to finish at? 60?
I think 72.
Okay.
68, something like that.
Okay, so you realize now if you're doing this and you're trying to get your playoff in and you've expanded your playoff, by the end of October, it's got to get done. There are 71 calendar days between what the start of the season would be, which is July the 19th now is what they're projecting, through September, the end of September. So what are you basically, if you're talking about, I understand it's not the same as a coronavirus pandemic, but you're basically going to be playing games every day. I mean, you're trying to get in this many games.
Yeah.
Ooh, you better expand rosters, and they don't want to do that.
I believe they are this year, though.
Are they?
They have 40 to 50. You know, it's not like that's on your bench every game.
Right.
But that you have a taxi squad with you for the entire season.
You're going to have to because pitching is going to be, you want to talk about on their last legs, you're going to be playing 70 games in 70 days.
And they're not going to be ready to go their full 100, 105 pitches by the start of this thing anyway. I don't think it,
Your bullpens are going to have to be gigantic.
Right. Plus, I would think you probably want to schedule several double headers, and then that way you create more off days.
I would absolutely. Well, hey, let's have some fun. A little day baseball, everybody. Imagine this. We got not a day-night doubleheader. We got doubleheaders starting at noon on a
25
Tuesday.
minutes apart.
Let's
go and change your uniforms.
Break
and we're
that
good
field.
to go.
Let's get to. Here we go. It's 1953. We're watching baseball.
No, I totally agree. You would need the expanded rosters, not just for position players, but also for the bullpens.
Yeah.
Your rotation might be a 6-man rotation. Who knows?
7-man rotation. I mean, you're going to have unique situations develop, which is great that the Pirates lost their number 1 and 2 starters in the rotation before the year began.
Well, you'll get a really good draft pick coming out of this thing.
Yes, we will.
And the death of the DH. That's the other thing here, is that the DH is dead. It ain't coming back. If the concession, quote unquote, by the ownership, by Manfred, is that you're going to have a DH for this year and next year, When is the national? Really, 2022? Are they going to really put a campaign? The pitcher's hitting for himself.
Yeah,
the DH is
yeah.
dead. Come see Noah Syndergaard hitting for himself on opening day. There's no way they're going back to the regular pitcher batting for himself.
That's unfortunate. I'm a National League guy, and I certainly liked the strategy involved in the National League that is removed by the DH in the American League.
I think it's bothersome too.
I listen. I'm not. It's not the hill I'm dying on, but it's not my favorite idea.
In the short term, the Mets are so uniquely equipped to work with this and roll with this punch in the National League.
Yeah.
Things are A-okay for the Mets with a DH.
Not the Buccos.
But I don't want to see it go.
Here we go. Here's another slappy off the bench hitting 207 at our DH spot.
Maybe your DH has to, in the National League, you got to change him after the 4th inning or the 5th inning. So however many at-bats you get, that's it. Your DH changes. Got to do something to differentiate yourself from the American League.
Yeah, I damn it, man. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But again, if the thing that we're arguing is we're going to have baseball or not have baseball, and you have to concede or acquiesce to that, then I want baseball. So okay, they have to get this done. The conversation when it reached that point where you could hear it in Rob Manfred's voice. Obviously, baseball took a beating yesterday and the day before. The last 48 hours have been really bad for baseball because its greatest proponents, Jeff Passan, Stark, Olney, Kirchen, all the guys that love even Costas, all those guys that just live and die with baseball, took turns just pelting baseball as un-American, selfish, you name it, right? All the code words.
Oh, I think there was a group text amongst the powers that be in the media, and they said, it's time.
It's time. These dumbasses.
Red button.
Yeah, here we go. And baseball took an ass kicking from a PR standpoint yesterday. So it's not surprising then that Manfred and Clark, for that matter, got on the phone like, this isn't playing well for either one of us. This isn't going well. The millions that we hope to enjoy together are flowing out the window here, man. We're going to have to get something done, which is my point to begin with, which is what I was talking about with Buster, which was what you and I have talked about from the beginning. When you're in a unique time such as this, when there is so much more going on in the world that is more important than baseball, you have a chance to engender goodwill, incredible PR, and provide a needed distraction for millions of Americans. You simply cannot not be part of the conversation. You simply cannot waft away into the ether and allow more and more baseball to drop behind and lag behind the other sports. You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. You had to play this year. Whatever your beef about 2021, whatever you're going to be arguing about over the next year, fine. Argue about it, but do it while you're playing the game of baseball for now. And so, I'm sure when they saw the PR backlash, when they heard people who are as impassioned as some of the aforementioned journalists that cover the game are, and they heard what people had to say, the response nationally to what baseball was doing, I'm sure they recognized. I'm sure they absolutely recognized that this would be a cataclysmic result. You're just ceding the spot. You're allowing somebody else to take over. So I'm thankful. I'm crossing fingers here.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen at this point.
I do too.
But if you're looking at the 20 to 30 year viability of the game of baseball, I don't know what it is. I really don't. And that's not to say that, you're not right to be passionate about it. And I'm passionate about the game of baseball. I just wonder. We live in an era of total specialization, and baseball doesn't age well in that regard. It has to be a regional passion. It can't be something like MLB on Fox on Saturday, and then Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN used to mean something. They mean jack all at this point. Nobody cares unless their own team is playing. That used to be appointment TV even when I was in college and high school.
Yeah, but okay, so we're talking about two different things because I would concede that's true. Baseball has to be like hockey. That's their role in this world.
But that's a hell of a thing from 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
But it's a hell of a thing to get a multi-billion-dollar contract from Turner recently, TBS. Yeah. So take your money and accept your role in society and move on. I mean, it's still infinitely profitable. We just learned about people buying teams 10 years ago, and the increased value of their team is tenfold.
Yeah.
So, yes, there will be people like you and I, and certainly those older than us, who will remember a time where baseball was the be-all, end-all in American sport. But hell, when I was a little kid, my great-grandmother, her name was Dee Dee. She lived into her 90s. She was Park Creek Indian. She was old and wise and interesting and had incredible stories. She lived out in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, and Okemah. And I remember her telling me one time, when I was a kid, when the first time I ever saw, I think she was describing the first sporting event that she ever got to go to, was a bike racing event. Like just bike racing, not motorcycles or anything like that, just people on freaking bikes. And she said, when I was a kid, it was the most popular sport in the country, by far. In my head, as a little kid, I remember thinking, well, Dee Dee's old. I mean, old people say crazy things sometimes. But the more you read, the more you learn that there was a time where bike racing was the most popular sport in the country. It was. People loved the hell out of bike racing in the early 1900s. Okay, things change. Boxing was the biggest sport in this country for a very long time. Yeah. It's virtually obsolete. Unfortunately for baseball, and it was a hell of a run, about 100 years plus worth. It was the creme de la creme of sport in this country. It's not even close now, and to your point, it likely never will be again.
No, because I think other sports are coming for the summer. You can have air-conditioned environments. Well, but here's why. Also, when you look at the trend of school systems going to all year round or, limited vacation in the summer, the realities of the summer vacation or the lull between all of June through all of August, that's like gone in a huge portion of the country. So baseball fit very nicely into that summer vacation
Boys of Summer,
mold.
Great book.
The NBA, why not carve into it? You shouldn't be afraid anymore about losing ratings because people are on summer vacations. You're a global sport anyway.
Well, they always wrap up in June anyhow, right? That's when they
but if they push till August and they start in December?
Yeah, I guess.
Baseball's in trouble at that point because the value of baseball is it's live sports in a month or several months where there are no others. It has no other competition.
Well, but I value the sport for the sport, too. I know not everybody does, but I think the uniqueness of the game, it's unlike any other sport that we watch and are passionate about.
I'm like you, but I think there are a lot of people who watch baseball in the summer because, there's nothing else on, so let's watch baseball.
Yeah, perhaps that's accurate. I think what's so ingrained in my mind are the seasons that have always been, and I get it, adapt or perish, right? So I understand leagues can't be worried about what Jeff thinks, but what I'd say is that when football season is starting, it's to the exclusion of almost everything else in my mind because this is football season. So the NBA, for me, they can start in Christmas, and I don't care. I know everybody gets excited about the big Christmas Day triple header or whatever. Don't care at all. I'm still so wrapped up into football.
It's a pentuple header now,
I don't even care. I'm like, so what? You got 81 more games to play or whatever you got. I don't care. I'll see you in, February. Maybe.
You could have your Knicks and 76ers. Philly's going to win. What the hell do I care about this noon tip-off?
I just don't. I talk about the NBA, and I used to love the NBA, and certainly for the purposes of both this show and just because I love sports, I do pay attention to the league. I know who's who, and I understand that game. And there are certain matchups during the course of a regular season that I'll get excited about. TNT will have a game that night or something, and I'll be like, oh, we got a good, Toronto and Milwaukee tonight. That's a good matchup, likely a playoff matchup. I'm going to watch that. Certain players I gravitate to see as well. I love when I get sort of Western Conference basketball, especially these days with two Knowles being on the Clippers. If I come home late night and we got that as the late night doubleheader, I'll have a pop and watch that game, maybe half, maybe the whole game if it's really good. But I talk about basketball the way my father and other people talk about baseball. They'll say, well, baseball season is 162 games. It's just too many games. I don't care about game number 37. I'm not watching because there's 100-something more to play. I don't care. And I'd say, no. It's part of the great fabric of the sport. Yeah. You've got to watch the whole season or much of the season to get a real handle on what a team is for a series or what they are at the end of their bench or what they are in that bullpen. And you get that only over the course of a lot of games being played. The NBA, I'm always kind of like, nah, I know you're starting 5. And you'll shorten the bench when the postseason comes, so I need to know probably your 8 that you play. And I can figure that out pretty damn quickly. I don't need 82 games to figure that out.
I'm changing a little bit in that regard. I'm watching a little bit more of the NBA. Since the Magic are on locally, if Isaac is healthy, which he has not been.
Yeah.
I will tune in just to see how he looks in the half court.
I'll root for individual guys, sure.
Because there's certain things about his game. It's amazing how much he's lauded as a defender. I feel like he gets lost in rotations a lot, but that's the NBA. If you're going to score 100 points, there's going to be a lot of breakdowns on every possession since you can't play zone. But I'm finding that I'm watching at least the power teams more. And maybe it's because there's more candidates than there have been in a long time to win a title. It's now like at 5 to 6.
Yeah. It's not 2. It's not whoever LeBron plays for.
Like it used to be.
No, it was always whoever LeBron plays for in the East is going to the finals.
Yeah.
That's end of story.
Plus the
There's
Western Conference Finals matchup, which you already knew what it was going to be.
And that's all you had, yes.
And maybe, I think people will tune into a random game on a Tuesday night more once we get back to these kinds of games. But the one thing I'd say is, and maybe it's because I'm getting older, and maybe it's the kids' time slot, but Sunday afternoon NBA games, like the NBA on NBC.
As a kid, I loved it, but
like now I turn on ABC on a Sunday, I'm like, oh yeah, there's basketball on. Not, ooh, oh my God, it's Giannis, he's going to Philly.
Somewhere along the way, it's sneaky how it happens, gang. Let me just tell you that. I somewhere along the way became the older viewer. Makes sense. I'm older than I was back when we started, but not me. Sunday afternoon is not for basketball. It's the wraparound golf schedule, buddy.
Yeah,
it is PGA Tour time. I am sitting back watching wherever the hell they are.
I've graduated into that demo as well.
Oh, yeah. And it's funny because I can hear myself, and I know if I'm 20 years old listening to me, I'm like, okay, Pops. But I've become my granddad, man. When I was a kid, we would go to Treasure Island in St. Petersburg, where my grandmother still lives. She turns 94 tomorrow.
Wow.
She'll turn 94 tomorrow, and she's oftentimes either watching or listening to this show. So if you are, Grandma, I love you, and I'll talk to you tonight and tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, 94. So, and sharp as a tack. I mean,
that is true.
She is.
I've seen it.
Unreal. So it's great. I cross my fingers that I have a whole bunch of her genes. So anyhow, when I was a kid, we would go see her and my granddad, who my oldest son is named after. And he was a scratch golfer. My granddad, I've told you the story, riddled with cancer. He didn't know it at the time. My granddad died when he was just 72 years old, or 71. But he shot 72 at his club course and was dead a year later. Cancer all through his body. Had no idea. It's an amazing accomplishment in retrospect, right? Good player. I hated that I never took him up on his offers as a kid all the time to go golfing. But when I would go to their house on Sundays, we had Sunday dinners over there. And he was always locked in his chair. He had that lazy boy that was his butt imprinted in it. I mean, that was his chair. And next to his chair was an ashtray. And for some reason, I missed the smell of both the ashtray and Vicks. He used Vicks.
Mm-hmm.
So he would have, like, the smell, it would mix of the Vicks and the ashes from the cigarettes. And because it's nostalgic, if I smell Vicks or a cigarette, but God forbid the two are ever mixed together, I'm like, oh.
The comfort of those things.
Smells like home. It's crazy. No, it's awful. I mean, listen.
My parents and my dad's parents were chimneys, so when we go to their house, it'd be like, I'm going to go find a different room to be in.
I'm going to have to go outside.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nuts. But he would sit there and watch the golf. And he would tell me, I mean, he would name random average players that, I mean, you know, guys that were 103rd on the money list, and this is like 1982, and he'd be like, look at that, Gulliver Jones is in 7th, Jeff. I'm like, oh. He's like, oh, Gulliver's having a good year. He's got 3 top 10s.
What a putt by Tripp Houston. Old Tripp's making a comeback. Oh.
But he knew every one of them. Yeah, so it would be funny. He would just tell you who was in the top 10, who's in the top 20. And then, of course, I happened to be there that Sunday when Jack made his charge in 86. And so I'll never forget it. He was almost teary-eyed. He's got a chance. You know, he starts to see him come on after the putts are dropping, you know, and he's getting excited, and he's starting to lean forward in his chair. Low-def television. I just realized that now, thinking about how crappy those were.
Oh, and the glare on those things because they were glass.
Yeah. And they weighed 4,000 pounds, literally 4,000 pounds. You couldn't move them. Yeah.
But you've become
But I
that
become
guy.
the whole point of that was I used to laugh at that. We used to get in the car. I'd be like, Granddad just sits there and watches golf all day on Sundays. Now my kids, Dad, you just sit there and watch golf all day on Sundays. I'm like, it is a Sunday.
Well,
it's the final round.
It's tough to beat, especially Saturday, Sunday mornings. You can either watch the Euro Tour on Golf Channel or Premier League if there's a really good game on NBC Sports.
Yeah.
And it bleeds into the afternoon seamlessly. It's really nice. But even as somebody who grew up watching a lot of weekend hockey on Fox when I was a kid, ridiculous that it was on Fox, or NBC now, it's got to be a hell of a matchup for me to watch an afternoon, professional game that's not of my own team.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened. Somewhere along the way, I think having every network or every team at
Yeah,
your disposal
access to every team.
has taken the special shine off of that.
I think that's true for baseball. So back to our larger point, and we'll go to break here, come back, wrap it up. But I would tell you that I think that's what's happened to baseball, too. You look at those ratings that are huge, even in markets like St. Petersburg. The Rays make all their money, not from attendance, that much is for sure. It is because they do exceptionally well on television. The ratings are through the roof for the Rays. And I thought to myself when I found that out 10 years ago, how's that possible? Nobody goes to the games.
A lot of people talk about how Monday Night Football and how special that was is a thing that they miss dearly.
Yeah.
Like now you're on Monday Night Football, it's ESPN.
Well, there was Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football. Now it's all,
The games usually are terrible anyway on that schedule.
Monday Night Football was a big deal, man.
I miss Sunday Night Baseball and how special Sunday Night Baseball was because
Johnny Miller and Joe Buck.
Joe
Morgan. Joe Morgan.
I get done with work and the sun is still out in the summer. And I'd go, if I was at home, I'd just go home. My dad and I would sit down. We watched the Mets. They were on a ton then because they were good. I remember one time they were playing the Cubs. They had 2 grand slams in 1 inning at Wrigley Field. It was incredible. The inning went like a half an hour. It was amazing. But I would go to Bullwinkle's, of all places. Bullwinkle's would show Sunday Night Baseball on the big projector screen. And it wasn't open for the clubs and the dancing. It was literally a beer garden with a giant projector screen, and you could get $4 giant stadium cups of whatever the hell you wanted.
I was
just
making this case to my dear brother up in New Hampshire. I was just saying we have too many choices. And it sounds counterintuitive, right? More information, not less information. More access, not less access. More choices, not less choices. We all want those things, whatever it might be, right? It's really, really diluted the product and diluted your ability to specialize. And I think nobody knows where to go anymore. I mean, we have this conversation all the time about, hey, there's this great show. What channel is it on? Oh, I don't know. UHD? What the hell's that? You don't have UHD. It's an app. You got to download it. It's incredible. Whatever it
Or it's Apple TV. Well, I have Prime and Netflix
but
and
I
Hulu, but I don't have Apple.
No, and I need this service and this service, and these two combined. If you get that one, they'll group them together, and you never know where the hell anything is. And I actually think that it becomes overwhelming, not unlike the internet. And what I mean by that, not to sound old, but you were bringing it up yesterday. You were talking about dial-up and all that. Well, when that first happened, I'm a music buff. So for me, I was looking for like-minded music buffs who might, on a platform like what was the one that was shaky?
AOL?
No, the one that was shaky that everybody got in trouble with later on. What was it called?
Oh, LimeWire?
LimeWire.
Yeah. Kazaa, Napster, all that.
Yeah. So when I would find concerts, people would be like, "Hey, the Frames in Dublin, 1996."
Set list.
And you'd be like, there it is.
Yeah.
How awesome is this? And you could just watch the concert. Yeah, you'd probably get a virus, but, that's all right. You're watching the concert. Well, I knew there were probably 10 people that really did a good job of housing live shows and cool videos that nobody else had. Man, if you type in U2 Live, you're going to get 5,000 responses.
Yeah, sure.
Okay? It can get to be where you're just frozen. You have too many choices. There's just too many avenues. And I think that when once you got to where you could watch your team every night of the week, you really regionalized the sport. It was no longer a national pastime. It was a regional thing. It was like you just started watch. Why would I watch Arizona take on anybody for that matter if I could watch the Pirates every night?
Right. You've created regional pockets throughout the country.
Yes. And I think that's what's happened. Baseball should just accept that. I think they largely have.
Well, they do with the MLB Network.
That's correct.
With the whip-around coverage.
Yes.
Because the best thing to do, and this is the new thing where I feel like I can exhale with joy like I did at Bullwinkle's, is you pick up your second largest device. So if I take the Big Mac over, or God forbid I bring the whole TV down another box, but you put the Mets game on one, you put MLB Tonight on the other. And so you
Just
get
let
the
it go.
best of what's going on around. I mean, this is the one thing where I do wish I had the dish, because that channel of the Mosaic
It was awesome.
That thing is addictive,
Yeah.
buddy. Oh, my God. But you have to have a giant TV to be able to pull it off.
You have to have an 86,
Like the one you're about to get.
86-inch television, which comes to Papa this Sunday on Father's Day. Daddy's getting his 86-inch television this Sunday.
Are they bringing it to you, or is Daddy going to get it?
Daddy's
for
going to
Father's
get
Day?
it with Uncle Matt. Daddy's going to get it
Okay.
with Uncle Matt.
Oh, he must be so pumped.
He is pumped. He was like, thanks for the Father's Day gift. I was like, you're welcome. Let's go together. We're probably going to tear up as we enter into the Costco. Because the one I want, Samsung 86-inch, 4K, not playing any games.
Gentlemen, why are your masks soaking wet?
Just take my money. We'll wrap it up momentarily. I need not acknowledge that, right? Somebody driving down the road's going, you sons of bitches. You actually just kind of reignited my enthusiasm, Tom. I had forgotten what I told you off the air until I heard that music. Then I went, that's right. You're damn right it is.
Touchdown Cowboys.
Oh, I want to thank my fine friends over at Orange Theory Fitness. OTF is back up and running. I went there today. I took the noon class. I needed a little pick-me-up in the middle of the afternoon, or early afternoon, I guess it is, in order to do this show. I was feeling a little lethargic, and I went there and let them beat the hell out of me. And they did. They did.
It's crazy how energy begets energy, right? Like spending it begets, getting more.
Right,
of it.
right. An object in motion, right? It's true. It's if you, when I walk in there, I'm not feeling that. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm thinking I would have rather have remained seated like I was prior to walking in here.
Like the airline captain tells you 84 times.
Yeah. Hey, on that note, you bring up a good point. So really quick, Orange Theory Fitness is back open. I'm back going again. It's really helpful for your mental health. It's not just your ticker, man, and it's not just the weight. It's your mental health. And I like to describe various aspects of what I like about OTF, our partnership, but also me going as a member, just what I enjoy about it. I just feel better. I feel a greater sense of wellness. It's odd. When I leave there, your mind is clear. It's hard while you're doing it, not going to lie, but it's good. Afterwards, you're like, okay, all right, we did that. That was good. I'm okay. I sweat out a lot of the impurities that were in my body, and I've got an extra pep in my step.
Like hatred?
So the point of that was to say this. You brought it.
Airline captain tells you 84 times, sit down in your seat.
So here's the point to that. Now, I get annoyed with the waitresses in the sky. And it bothers me to no end when flight attendants love to tell you something 400 times. Just get off the walkie-talkie.
Yeah, waiters in the sky as well now. That's much closer to 50-50 these days than it's ever been.
I haven't noticed. Well, whatever. They're waiters and waitresses, and there's nothing wrong with that. Flight attendants, get the hell out of here. You're serving me a drink. That's what you're doing. Here's the point. When they regurgitate something over and over again, as if I couldn't understand it the first time they said it, I get incensed with this. I really do, irrationally so. And I know this, so I just put AirPods in and ignore them. I don't pay attention when they're telling us to buckle anything, because if this plane goes down, we're dead anyhow. So that's it. When he says that, upon taxiing the runway, when we've already landed, we are safe. This thing's moving 5 miles per hour. Tom, just consider me a renegade. I unbuckle. Even though they tell you to remain fastened. Not me. I'm unbuckling. And in addition to unbuckling.
Like Gary Danielson in Gainesville, circa 2007.
That's right. The second he sees the list of games he has, he goes, week 2, we've got Florida. Unbuckle. So here, for me, I go, at least he did in the Tebow era, but for me, the second we land and we're taxiing.
Is it midnight in here?
When we're taxiing, I not only unbuckle before they tell you can, I start standing up, not to leave. I'm not that guy.
I was going to say,
I hate that guy, just like I hate the guy that races to board the plane early. What are you doing? You're going to be sitting there for 25 minutes. You're running to a red light, ass. Here's what I'm telling you.
As long as you're in a boarding group that guarantees you the overhead storage. Now, if you're in that last boarding group, it's important to get the one or two remaining cubbies left.
Yes, if you're worried that you're not going to have room.
But I'm never in that boarding group, so I fully understand what you're saying.
You do the right thing, Tom. We've reached a place in our lives where we're not in the last boarding group.
Even boarding group 2, I'm like, 2? I slacked before this flight. What is wrong with me?
Anyhow, what I would tell you is that I stand just to stretch my legs because I'm tall enough that those seats, if you're not in the emergency exit area, you really have not been able to stretch your legs, and that's not doable.
My effing knee.
Right.
I swear.
So I stand in my place, not to get out in the aisle and try to grab my stuff, and I don't just stand to stand like people do. I'm like, you're in row 20. Why are you standing? I don't do that. I just stretch, and I can see they give you the evil eye. They're like, look at this bastard. Not only are we still taxiing and he's unbuckled, he's standing and flying.
Yeah.
I do it.
That's the line. The unbuckle, they all know what's going on there.
Yeah.
The standing while you're taxiing?
I'm letting him know.
Dude,
Your
you could be
rules-
taxiing in Atlanta airport for about 25 minutes.
So what? We're going 6 miles per hour. What are we going to hit a cone? I'm going to go flying? Who cares? Who cares? Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.